And we are live for our first Rooted in Sports Monday, right? Monday,
Monday episode, yes, sir.
5:30. You know, because we was doing it on Sundays, and then we realized that a lot of y'all are like drunk. You know, you coming from brunch or whatever. so obviously y'all like, man, we ain't paying these fools no mind. We at the house, we chilling. We had a long week. We letting the load off. So yeah, we moved to Mondays, 5:30 p. Obviously Pacific Standard Time, 7:30 Central. So today's gonna be fun, right?
It is, man. We just
Swan, what we got going on, Swan?
We got a slew of NFL draft breakdown, man. So obviously the draft started Thursday, ended what was that, Saturday night, late Saturday night?
Yeah. Oh no, like Saturday afternoon.
Afternoon, yeah, because they start early on Saturdays.
Yeah,
and it was a lot of surprises. Obviously, the trades were just out the blue. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we definitely gonna just hit this draft and just kind of cover it from all angles. Who our best fits were, who were the value picks. Some guys who it was a little bit of a reach for and everything. We just gonna hit this draft running, man, and then a little bit later on in the episode, we're gonna kind of tackle the NBA a little bit, and get into the second round of the NBA playoffs.
It'd be a sin if we didn't, because this is probably some of the best damn playoff basketball we didn't see in a while. A lot of parity.
Oh yeah, man, it's some interesting outcomes occurring. So no doubt, man. But
and then we got a special guest, right?
Oh yes, sir. I don't even. What are we giving it away, or is we just gonna let them?
We'll just let them come on, and we'll have some fun. But
definitely gonna be some fun, some great banter.
Yeah, it should be entertaining. Me and this gentleman, we're good friends, but we go back and forth like we're enemies. We different varying opinions. But let's get into this intro and let's jump into the action.
Yes, sir.
And just like that, we're back.
Word, man. Definitely excited for this show, man. Like I said, man, that NFL draft was a trip, man, between the trades and the picks. The way some people feel, especially that first night. Like that first night was it was kind of bananas for me, bro.
Oh yeah, but you know what? That's why I like night one. Even though night one's kind of tedious, it takes long. Teams be taking they take the whole 15 minutes to draft. But you always gonna get one or two haymakers where you like, oh snap! Like I wasn't expecting this. So, So I guess first we'll touch on. I don't know what you want to touch on first. One, I'll let you choose.
Let's do our best fit. Which draft picks were the best fit for, or the best matches for where they were? And I guess I'll go ahead and jump in, because I know you're the savant here. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go ahead and jump in. All right, so my best match of the draft. I kind of went back and forth on this. It was a couple people that I thought was some really solid fits. I'm gonna mention a couple of them a little later on, and some of our other topics concerning the draft. I'm gonna mention a couple of the other picks that I thought were great, but for this one, now everyone knows that Kenny is a USC guy. And for me, with college football, I'm a Notre Dame guy. Okay. So with that being said, my best match, I have to go with my boy from Notre Dame, safety Kyle Hamilton, going 14th overall to the Baltimore Ravens. Now, he's 6'4", he's 220. Actually, I think he actually could have went even sooner than 14th, because he didn't run extremely well at the combine. He only ran a 4.59 40. And then at Notre Dame's pro days, he ran 2.47s.
Right.
So he didn't necessarily run well. Otherwise, he probably would have went even a little higher in the draft than he did. But I think him going to Baltimore is just great for him. Don Martindale, their defensive coordinator, they run like a base 3-4 scheme. So I know I use this term a lot when it comes to NBA players, but I'm gonna use this one to describe him as well. He's a 3-level player.
Yes.
And I say that from a sense of, you know what I'm saying, he can go out and track a ball down in a secondary. You can bring him up into that linebacker position. He's not afraid to come up to the line and make hits. And I think that because they play a 3-4 defense, I think that they'll come up with some real exotic blitz schemes, and they'll just use him to really kind of confuse opposing quarterbacks, and they'll just kind of have him at all different places around the field defensively. And he can do that. Like I said, he's a big kid. What 6'4", 220.
6'4", 220. And you know, it's funny you talk about versatility. I was telling people, I said, you know what? And someone had to correct me, but they just had to remind me of somebody. And to tell you the truth, Kyle Hamilton and Derwin James have a lot of similarities. Derwin James might be just a little bit better of an athlete, but Kyle Hamilton, outside of Derwin James, is probably the best safety prospect I've seen come into the National Football League in probably 10 years.
I know you mentioned that to me. Yeah.
Right. Because he can do everything. He can play single high. He can play in the box, right? He can play nickel. And he has a very high football IQ. So, I think that is a good fit in Baltimore. I'll talk a little bit more about him later, but, I can't speak highly enough about the kid. So, yeah, that's a good one.
And then I also like the pick because of we know the culture that Baltimore. They have there in Baltimore. Obviously, John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh is their head coach, and we know the culture that he's kind of helped to maintain there, because they've always had a great culture there. We know the culture that he's kind of helped to maintain there. There's a slew of veterans on the defensive side of the ball that can really kind of, get with him. I think he's a mature guy. He came from a great program, and he's going right into another great organization. I think that if their secondary can stay healthy, if Peters can come back healthy, if Marlon Humphrey can stay in New Orleans.
Yeah, Marcus Williams, yeah.
So, and then, you can slip him in there, you know what I'm saying? And they still got Calais Campbell up front. They still got Patrick Queen at linebacker. They still got Chuck Clark, who's another safety. So, I think that they're defensively now, they got some pieces.
They could have one of the better safety combos in the National Football League. They can. So, yeah, definitely a good fit. That's a pretty good fit. I'm gonna tell you one that I loved, and some people are gonna fight me on this.
Okay.
I loved Kenny Pickett to Pittsburgh. I thought it was a match.
I did think about that one as well.
I thought it was a match made in heaven. First of all, he's a Pitt kid. And from my understanding, he actually has known Mike Tomlin well over 2 to 3 years. He's known him and talked to him and conversed with him and things of that nature. But you look at where Pittsburgh is; they just lost Ben Roethlisberger. They still have this star-studded defense. T.J. Watt just coming off the Defensive Player of the Year, right? They got weapons on offense. They just got the running back out of Alabama last year. Najee Harris, who's looking like a stud. So they didn't want to bring on a younger quarterback, somebody that they was going to have to develop. They wanted somebody that was going to be able to pay immediate dividend, somebody was going to be able to give them production right now. And Kenny Pickett's he's a 5-year senior. And then from my understanding, started maturity. He's very mature. And you can tell if you watch him in his interviews. And his last year, he was no slouch. He had his best year his last season at Pitt. If I'm not mistaken, I think he led college football in touchdown passes against the blitz with 25. So really, really productive guy, very mature. May not have as super high of a ceiling. We don't know that, but I think he's going to come in and give them the best chance to win. Shit, better than if they was rock with Mason Rudolph, right?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you. So can you see him? Like here's the way I viewed that pick. Once again, love that pick. I actually thought about, saying that one for my best fit as well. Love that pick. I thought of it as, I thought it was great because I feel like Mitchell Trubisky can be really stable in that situation, right now. I feel like Pittsburgh can go with Mitchell Trubisky and they can still possibly fight for a playoff spot. I don't think they'll get one. I'm not sure if they'll get one, but they can still possibly fight for a playoff spot, and I think that'll allow them the time to let Kenny Pickett, who, as you mentioned, is already, a 5-year guy. He's already a very mature individual. It'll allow him the time to actually just kind of sit back, and really truly learn and get a wonderful grasp of the offense, which I think they're going to be kind of run heavy anyway. I think they're going to ride Najee Harris. They're gonna find a way to get him touches, 25 to 30 touches a game probably.
Right.
But yeah, I looked at it as a situation that he might be able to kind of sit, for a year, really learn, and then moving forward, because I don't think anyone thinks Mr. Trubisky is going to be the answer for them moving forward. Obviously, they don't either. So that's why they picked Kenny Pickett. But my question to you is, can you see a scenario where he gets in there and he actually starts and takes over the job this year, or even possibly wins the job outright?
I think he's going to win the job outright. I think the best case scenario is for Kenny Pickett to be the starter. Look, Bo Peterson. We on football. You talking about the Mavs? But anyway, we'll get to that later.
We'll get to that in a minute.
But no, I think the best case scenario is for Kenny Pickett to start and for Mitchell Trubisky to be his backup. And that's nothing against Mitchell Trubisky, but I think that he's kind of transformed over the last year. Obviously, he was just in Buffalo with Josh Allen, but he's really become a big locker room guy, kind of similar, eerily similar to like a Nick Foles, where a lot of people rally around him and they like what he brings. So, I think that's the best case scenario. You don't draft a Kenny Pickett. If they wanted a developmental prospect with a high ceiling, they would have took Malik Willis, right? So they took somebody who they felt, and Mike Tomlin actually said it. He's gonna get the opportunity to win the starting job. Mike Tomlin just said that. So I think I'm 100% believe that he's gonna win the job. And worst case scenario, Mitchell Trubisky is your starter for a few games. That's worst case scenario until he gets up and go and picks things up. But yeah, I got Kenny Pickett starting week 1.
Okay. We'll see what happens with that. I did like that pick though, man. I think that's a good pick, and I think there's a. I mean, we could have went there a few places. I don't want to say too many because there's a few of those picks that I'm going to mention later. But I think there were some really. There was a few choices that you could have went with for the best match. But,
go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm about to say, I'll tell you one that I loved.
Okay.
I loved Aiden Hutchinson.
Oh, yes. Detroit Lions. I don't know if you can see this, and in my notes here, I had Aiden Hutchinson and crossed them out, and I put Kyle Hamilton.
No, Aiden Hutchinson to Detroit Lions. It was, and if you guys
match made in heaven.
And remember, I talked about this in Rooted in Football. I said I would love for Aiden Hutchinson to go to Detroit. It's a perfect fit. He's a Michigan kid, just born and bred, and he's gonna go to Detroit and year 1 be their best defender.
I think when you guys were live, I had chimed in and I said that's the best case, probably the best case scenario.
And he wanted to go there. And he said he wanted to go there.
Yeah.
Even though you can tell he wanted, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. You can tell even though he wanted to go number 1, you could tell he really wanted to go to Detroit as well. So so I definitely like that. I thought that was a really, really good match, and I think it's gonna be great moving forward.
Agreed. Let's get into let's do the value picks.
Ooh, best value.
Yes.
Best value in the draft. Okay.
Let's see. You want to go ahead? Go ahead. Take it away.
Okay, so best value picks in the draft. Okay, so I'm gonna give you one that's surprising.
Okay.
Because obviously, this is my guy. I'm gonna go with Drake London, right? And the reason why Drake London he went to the Atlanta Falcons at 8. What's going on, my boy Kyle Humphreys? What's up? That's my brother. Really good football player, right? Yeah. So either way, Drake London going to Atlanta, even though I loved it because I still feel like Drake London was the best receiver in this draft.
I know that's your USC guy.
Well, that's my USC guy, and he's extremely versatile, well-rounded. I think it's a value pick because now the USC fan in me wanted Drake London to go at 8, but the football fan in me wanted Atlanta to take a defender. And that's because I feel like they need to change the mantra of how they draft and how they build teams. Because for years we've seen Atlanta teams with these, these superstar caliber receivers and running backs and quarterback, and then they can't play any damn defense, and they they get ran through. So what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same damn thing over and over
and expecting a different result.
And expecting a different result. So I hope maybe they have a different plan moving forward. Maybe they just loved him that much. Yeah. Oh yeah, Kyle. I was mad
hold
too.
that thought.
Oh yeah.
Hold that thought.
We're definitely gonna talk about that.
Hold that thought.
But yeah, that I think Drake London was a value. They took him because, and to me, him and Kyle Pitts have similar skill sets. Just big body guys that excel in contested catches. But once again, it's going to be exciting to watch. I just would have preferred Atlanta to go defense as opposed to adding another receiver.
I just think, and I know when we were doing our Rooted in NFL segment, and we were talking about the Atlanta Falcons, I just think they were one of those teams where they really could have went anywhere in the draft and fulfilled a need.
Hey, look, that's what I say. Any, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by itself.
They really could have. However, and it's crazy to say this about a team that could have went anywhere to fulfill a need, I think that wide receiver, for me, might have been their greatest need. Because like I said, I mean, I don't even think outside of Zacchaeus, maybe I don't think I can name another receiver on their team. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that was a good pick for them. And I think Drake London, he was the first receiver off the board, correct?
He was the first receiver off the board.
So yeah, I like that. I think it was a good pick for him. Good value pick.
And I was about to say, and anybody that watched our live show knew I was hyped. I was talking cash money shit, right? When it happened, because they didn't disrespected our USC wide receivers for years. But go ahead, Swan.
So my value pick, I actually went with the talk of the combine. I actually went with Jordan Davis going to the Philadelphia Eagles at 13.
I have him as a value pick. Go ahead.
The reason I say so is because I mean, maybe you can argue that Philly could have went elsewhere. Maybe they could have went cornerback or somewhere in the secondary. Obviously Cal Hamilton went right behind them. Trent McDuffie was still out there.
To me, they should have went Devin Lloyd.
Or Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd was still there.
Right. So
so they could have went in other places, but I still love this pick in Jordan Davis. He went 13 to the Eagles. Now, let me preference what I'm about to say by making sure that everyone knows, for those that don't know, this kid is 6'6", 340 pounds, okay? 6'6", 340 pounds. He runs a 4.78 40-yard dash. Then he tops that off with a 32-inch vertical. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Athlete.
So
physical freak.
A freak by all caps. A pure freak. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's a great place to go because I mean, obviously in Philly, they still got they still have Fletcher Cox. They still have Javon Hargrove in the middle, who I think led them in sacks actually. So he'll be able to just kind of come right in. And the reason I like that fit initially is because I do think that they're grooming him, or they're going to groom him to eventually replace Fletcher Cox. And then B, although he's a freak of nature and obviously he flashed at Georgia, he really only played, he wasn't a 3-down guy. He really only played about 40-45% of the snaps. And so I think Philly getting him, he'll be able to just, you know what I'm saying, come right into that interior defensive lineman rotation. And I think at least for this first season, they can kind of, have a nice little rotation between him and Hargrove and Fletcher Cox and, allow him to get his touches in. I think Fletcher Cox is a phenomenal person for him to learn from and really get some tricks to the trade as far as the position goes. So, yeah, I mean, that was my value pick, bro.
Well, I'll tell you another reason Jordan Davis is a value pick. Because, and one, I guess it just speaks to how much they really liked him. Because they were the 9th ranked run defense last year.
And Cal said they could have went Devin Lloyd as well.
Yeah, my boy Devin Lloyd, San Diego guy, right? From Shula.
Davis is going to be a beast.
Right?
Yeah.
But so, yeah, I think, they took him. They could have went linebacker, could have went a lot of different places, but they just added another defensive tackle. And to me, obviously, they already have a damn good pairing and Javon Hargrave and Fletcher Cox. So, yeah, that was a value pick. I'll tell you one more that to me was a little bit of a value pick. And that was Daxton Hill to the Bengals. I like the pick, but I would have loved to have seen the Bengals go offensive line because obviously they have two safeties already under contract. Maybe they're planning for the future. Now, Daxton,
I know they probably feel like they addressed it at least in some part, getting your boy from Dallas. It leaves me now. The old lineman from Dallas, they signed him.
La'el Collins.
La'el Collins, yeah. So
well,
I know they probably,
I
was just saying, I know they probably feel like they kind of addressed it a little bit. You know what I'm saying there, but I agree though. I still think they could have went O line here in that first round.
Yeah. O line or hell. And once again, they could have went linebacker too. So obviously, Daxton Hill, he's gonna play a lot of nickel, but he's one of my favorite. You guys heard me talk about him. He's one of my favorite prospects in the draft. Literally can play everywhere. And he's a smaller guy, about 6 foot 190, but man, he can hit good. He has a super high football IQ. Can play free. Can play strong. Can play nickel linebacker. Can play outside corner, slot corner. He can do everything. So. That was probably a big value pick for me. I think they could have went a lot of different places.
Cal mentioned another one here, and this kid here fell in the draft, Nakobe Dean.
Well, I guess he could. I guess he could be considered a value pick. But here's the thing: I think they genuinely needed him.
Word. Yep.
So what we got next?
Let's see here. Let's do you know what? I'm really anxious to talk about this. Let's do our biggest reach.
You want me to start it off?
Let me start it off. I'm interested to see if we have the same individual.
I'm sure we have.
I'm
sure we have the same person.
With that being said, I'm gonna go straight to the very top of the draft at number 1 at Trayvon Walker. For me, that was. A first round prospect, but I think it was a reach. But obviously, he went number 1 to the Jacksonville Jaguars, 6'5", 275, ran a 4.5, 140, 35.5-inch vertical. He ran a 6.89 in the short shuttle. He was top 4 in all of those categories for defensive ends at the draft combine. I was reading on him in Bleacher Report, and Bleacher Report was saying that. When you add all of the athletic measurables, all the athletic drills and things that they do at the draft combine, when you add them all up, his numbers, he had the second highest athletic numbers of any defensive end since 1987. And I think that's why you've seen him kind of, and really maybe about 4 or 5 days before the draft, you started to hear these rumblings about him possibly being the number 1 pick, about Jacksonville really falling in love with him. And I think he really made himself some money at the combine, because I think if you look at him in college, he was overshadowed by the slew of defenders at Georgia. Mind you, they had 5 defensive guys go in the first round.
He was easily probably like their 5th or 6th best defender.
Agreed. And so he was easily overshadowed by some of the guys at Georgia. Once again, 5 defensive first-round picks, you know what I'm saying, coming from Georgia. He was easily overshadowed there. And then there were other guys who made more of an impact, whether you're talking about with the eye test or you're talking about statistically. We're talking about a guy here, and let me see here. He had 33 total tackles, 17 solo tackles, 7 tackles for a loss, 6 sacks. He in 3 years there at Georgia, he only had 9.5 sacks for his career at Georgia.
I've never in all of my time watching the draft, and I've been watching the draft for years, I've never seen a player with the production that he has go number 1 overall. And here's the thing. It's not that I don't like Trayvon Walker, because I actually do. He's actually was starting to become one of my favorite players. You watch his tape, there are a lot of things that he does well. But to me, a player of his talent with the production that he's had and the impact that he's had, I think it's more top 15-ish, top 20-ish. I'm going to take a chance on this guy because I like the potential. But number 1 overall, that's not supposed to be a potential type of pick. That's supposed to, if anything, it's supposed to be a player with a decently high floor and a decently high ceiling, which to me was bar none Aiden Hutchinson.
Word. And so, not to cut you off, but I see a few people are trying to comment. A few people are asking, if you want us to see your comments, for us to see them live as we're chatting and respond live as we're chatting, go to our YouTube stream. So all you have to do is go to YouTube and type in Rooted in Sports, or you can go to Instagram, type in Rooted ROOTED in Sports. Our Instagram page will come up, and the link is in our bio. So you can go straight to YouTube and just type in Rooted in ROOTED in Sports. You'll see a bunch of our episodes. You'll see the live one that we're doing now. It'll say live. Go ahead and jump on so you guys can have that live interaction with us. Or once again, go give us a follow on the Instagram page. Once again, it's just simply Rooted in Sports. Give us a follow on the Instagram page, and right in our bio, the link is right there. It'll take you right to the YouTube page, and you guys can comment there. That way we can see them, and we can go ahead and interact live and talk to you guys, respond back live on them. But yeah, I just saying there's a few people just you know what I'm saying was doing that, so I just thought I'd throw that out there. But I didn't mean to cut you off. My bad.
No, you're good. Chime in, guys. But yeah, so that was my feeling on that. I love, once again, I do like the player, but at number one, I can't deal with that, and I think that puts that front office, Trent Baalke, the GM, that puts that Jacksonville front office really. It's a lot of heat on them because this
right on cue.
He's a jackass.
Right on cue.
This has to work, and I'm gonna tell you guys this: they keep taking these defensive linemen and they want to go off of potential. And I'm gonna tell you this, and something else. We were on Rooted in Sports Community, and one of our guys that comes on, AJ, said a big reason Jacksonville liked him is because Trevon Walker's father is a military guy. So they felt like he'd be disciplined, which once again, I believe he's a good kid, hardworking. So they felt like that would help him, that would impact him working, and putting in the work to fulfill and reach his potential. Right. Now, if we jump back about 4 or 5 years, there was another kid that played at Florida whose father was a Navy SEAL who had all this immense potential, very raw defensive lineman, and his name was Taven Bryan. Taven Bryan. He was supposed to be the white Aaron Donald. I'm just saying that, but I don't know. He was supposed to be this all-pro, everything, this and third. Oh, he has a Navy SEAL father. He's going to reach his potential. He's a hard worker. And I don't think the kid has 5 career sacks. I could be wrong, but I don't even think he has 5 career sacks. And he's no longer in Jacksonville. So if you can't, especially when you're drafting high, as they just were, you can't draft off of potential. You have to draft off of, okay, is this guy going to come in and make me better day one? Trevon Walker is going to go there, and Josh Allen is still going to be their best defensive player. And as I mentioned earlier, Aiden Hutchinson, who they passed on, is going to go to Detroit and is instantly going to be their best defensive player.
Yeah, and I think that you can argue that there were just, even if they wanted to go defense, I think that there were guys that were just more ready to help and impact right now. I think Trevon Walker is a project. He has all the measurables, the athletic skills, but I think it's going to take, at best case scenario, I think it's going to take him, 2, 3, maybe even 4 years to be that guy that they hope he would be. You know what I'm saying? Whereas I think there's Aiden Hutchinson was there, Stingley was there, the kid from Cincinnati. If we want,
you might as well took Sauce Gardner.
Sauce Gardner. Yeah, I was gonna say if you're looking for defensive guys that could come in and help right away, I just think that there were better defensive picks. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was. And did we agree that we had the same guy? That was
reach. Yeah, Trevon Walker, he was the biggest reach. I'll tell you another one that was at the top of the second round. Okay. I did feel like Christian Watson to the Packers was a little bit of a reach.
So he's a guy that I kind of heard his name from some of the mock drafts. He's a guy that I heard all over these mock drafts. Some guys had him as a mid first rounder. I've seen some that had him as an early third rounder. You know what I'm saying? He's a guy that I've heard about it. I've seen all over the mock drafts.
Well, here's the thing about Christian Watson. He's an athletic specimen. We talked about him on Rooted in Football. He said our owner wanted Hutchinson, but our GM wanted Walker. But I agree. So, but when looking at going back to Christian Watson, athletic specimen, about 6'4", 6'5", probably like 205, 210, can run, can jump. He's really super athletic, but he's not a refined route runner. He's not a guy that you're going to bring in and he's going to be he's probably not going to be your number 1 or number 2 wide receiver. And I don't know if Green Bay has the creativity from an offensive standpoint, from a schematic standpoint, to really take advantage of his talents right now. To me, I said Christian Watson pre-draft. His match made in heaven was Kansas City, which I would have loved to see because obviously Andy Reid would have been able to find ways to get him the ball in space. But now you're going to a Green Bay Packers team that's devoid of talent at wide receiver. So now a guy that's not really a refined route runner, that's still very raw and playing the position, you're going to get thrust into essentially to the front. I mean, everybody there is old. You got Alan Lazard. I like Lazard, but Lazard's about like a 3 or 4 wide receiver, right? And then you got Randall Cobb. His best days are behind him. Clearly. And then they lost Valdez-Scantling. So it's a lot of
obviously they lost Devontae.
They lost Devontae Adams. So you took a guy that was probably the least ready to be at the forefront, that needed a few years to develop, when you probably could have took an Alex Pierce out of Cincinnati, who I love, who I called him. To me, he reminded me a lot of Jordy Nelson, and he was a number 1 and really well refined route runner, really good at contested balls. You could have took an Alex Pierce out of Cincinnati. You could have took a Jalen Tolbert out of South Alabama. Or traded back. Maybe if you felt like that. I
like Tolbert too.
Tolbert, really good. You could have took even if this guy isn't a prototypical number 1, you could have took a Sky Moore out of Western Michigan, a guy who's very mature slot. He's a running back turned wide receiver, and I mean, let's be honest, a lot of teams are kind of running their offense and basing it around a slot receiver. Cooper Kupp is not an outside; he's a slot guy. Right. They run their scheme through him. So I think it could have been a lot of possibilities. I just felt like that was a big reach for a team that I don't even think has the resources to take advantage of this kid's talents.
And there's going to be a lot of pressure on them initially going in there. You know what I'm saying? Because they're really going to kind of depend on him to really pay dividends and make a difference, you know what I'm saying, right away. And granted, I mean, he has obviously one of the best quarterbacks ever in Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers is going to kind of make guys better, you know what I'm saying? That's what he does. But I mean, I just think it's going to be a lot of pressure heaped upon him. A rookie wide receiver who
from North Dakota,
from North
at that. Dakota. So he's not coming from USC, guys.
Oh, okay. So here's a good one. I'm just throw this in there real quick. What are your thoughts on this?
Jahan Dotson?
Yeah, from Penn State.
Yeah, from Penn State. I think that was a good fit. Penn State guys usually come in ready. Now, granted, he went a little earlier than I thought he was going to go, but maybe Washington. All it took was for somebody to fall in love with him. If he didn't go to Washington, he probably goes to the Green Bay Packers. He probably goes to a slew of different teams. Probably at the back.
I think Green Bay would have loved to have had him.
Yeah, which is why a lot of people say Green Bay went Quay Walker, because all the receivers were gone. All the first round graded receivers were gone. So
which was a good pick. It was a good pick for him.
Yeah, it was a good pick. And once it was a run on wide receivers, I mean, he was gonna go with between 15 and 25. It was inevitable. But yeah, really good. Smaller guy, speedy. He actually has a solid catching radius to be so small. Nice hands. Doesn't do much after the catch, but he'll burn you. It can really well refined route runner. I like the pick, and I think Washington is preparing for the possibility of losing Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, because I think we talked about it not too long ago. It's been rumblings about him along with all the wide receivers not wanting to get paid. So, all right. Let's do draft slide. Who was a surprising player that slid in the draft for us? I'll go ahead.
Go ahead.
So for me, I'm gonna go with Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State. He ended up going.
Okay. We on the side. We here. You are right here.
Word. Went 26 to the Jets. Actually, crazy enough, in my mock draft, what you guys had up in the draft show, I think I had him at 12 or so, going to Minnesota, I believe, somewhere around there, like 12 or something like that. Mm-hmm. But here's a kid who, you know what I'm saying, in his third in his last year. Well, first of all, before I even get to that, bro, I had to mention this when I was you know what I'm saying, looking them up and everything. I had to mention this.
He was on Last Chance U.
Yes, he was on. You know, that's our show, bro.
Yeah, he was on Last Chance
he
U.
was at Independence Community College, and then this is what's mind blowing to me. Obviously, okay, I love that. You know what I'm saying, he was on Independence U. This is what's mind blowing to me. At Independence Community College, he became the #1 JUCO prospect. And just to show you how loaded Georgia's defense is, he actually went to Georgia and really couldn't get on the field. Yeah. Couldn't get on the field. And then he transfers, goes to Florida State, ACC Defensive Player of the Year. You know what I'm saying? 70 tackles, 12 sacks, 17.5 tackles for loss. And then crazy enough, a lot of the scouting report on him. Now, mind you, this is a guy I just said had 12 sacks. The scouting report on him is that he's a better run defender than he's a pass rusher. And for a guy like that to when you see Trayvon Walker go #1, and then you see a guy who produces like this fall all the way to 26th. I mean, that was pretty surprising to me.
There were many people that felt, and I kind of felt this way, that Jermaine Johnson was probably the second best pure pass rusher in this draft behind Aiden Hutchinson. When I was kind of scouting him and I was looking at it, watching his tape, to me, he kind of reminded me of a more refined, higher floor, like the Jason Pierre-Paul. That's what I compared him to. Long limb, 6'5" guy, can play the run. And to me,
he can get after the quarterback now.
He can, but this kid Jermaine Johnson can be a double-digit sack guy year one. That's how much I like him. But yeah, he was definitely a surprise slide. Obviously, he could have easily been the Jets' first pick at 10, right?
Yeah,
so,
true.
So he was definitely a big slide. I'm going to tell you one that you may disagree with me on, but this is a kid that I like. At Desmond Ridder falling around 3. He was probably behind Kenny Pickett, I think, the most pro-ready of all the quarterbacks in this draft. Very mature. 5-year guy. He was at Cincinnati for 5 years. Was a big reason why they made the jump to becoming a much better program, and obviously made it to the college football playoff. But he went to a great situation in Atlanta where, okay, you got Marcus Mariota in front of you. So, and from what I've heard, he told NFL GMs, I guess in interviews, that he expects to, wherever he's drafted, the veteran ahead of him, he expects to beat them out and start year one. So he's very confident. He has a high football IQ. I watched this. Watched a little segment with Steve Mariucci. Obviously he replaced John Gruden, kind of going through quarterback IQ on the board. And Desmond Ridder was really impressive on the whiteboard. So I'm a big fan of him, and I think you heard me compare him to my quarterback, which I think they have some similarities from an intangible standpoint, Dak Prescott. So
okay,
yeah, maybe not play style, but intangibles. Who do y'all think should have traded up based on need besides Green Bay? Ooh. Well, okay, all right. Let's see. Who should have traded up based on need? Well,
I know.
I think New England
Philly traded up. Oh, New England was one. I think Philly traded up, but they only went up like 2 spots or something when they got Jordan Davis.
Well, Philly. Well, remember Philly? Maybe they did, but Philly had 3 first-round picks, but they made trades with the Saints and stuff like that. And I think they, if I'm not mistaken, they did another transaction. So I mean, Philly could have traded up. To me, honestly, he said besides Green Bay, because Green Bay was really the team that really needed to trade up because they missed that run on wide receivers. You could have easily said Dallas. I mean, but once again, Dallas stood pat and took Tyler Smith, but they were interested in guys, if I'm not mistaken, and Trevor Penning. If Drake London would have fell out of the top 10, they would have took him. So they had guys that they liked. So you could have easily sent to Dallas.
Real quick, while we and I'm gonna get to I see a few of you guys' comments. I'm gonna get to a few of you guys' comments, but real quick, I'm gonna just give you a quick minute to talk about your Cowboys. What did you think of their draft?
It was unsexy, but it was necessary. They filled some needs. Yeah, we used to go crazy in the barbershop. What's going on, Robert?
That's my little bro right there. What's up, knucklehead?
Yeah, nah, it was an unsexy draft, but the picks made sense. Don't get me wrong, I was shocked when we took Tyler Smith because you had Jermaine Johnson and Devin Lloyd on the board. But one thing I'll say about this, every Dallas draft, I always hate a pick, and the pick always works out. And a lot of people compare this to 2013, which in all honesty is very similar. We picked at 31 that year, and I remember we drafted Travis Frederick. I'm saying we, like I play for the team, but yeah, we.
I know that.
They're like we, but no, Dallas drafted Travis Frederick, and remember they got slammed, and everybody said this is a C- draft. Some people are saying they had a 3rd round grade on Travis Frederick, and he goes on to for at least for a few years was probably the best center in the National Football League, and obviously he had to retire because health issues. But Tyler Smith was a guy that I had been talking about all draft because I knew once that run on tackles went by, and then obviously you had the 2 top guards go, I knew somebody was going to take Tyler Smith. I just didn't think it was going to be Dallas. But they take him. He's going to be a guard for Dallas. And then obviously in round 2, they go and
did you think they could have went Tyler Linderbaum? Went center?
Well, they could have, but I guess maybe they feel like Tyler Baez isn't so. I guess they felt like the need for left guard was greater than their need at center, which I can't get mad at them because Connor Williams and Connor McGovern were like pure dumpster fire last year.
Yeah, but with your boy Tyler there from Tulsa, right? So we're talking about a team in the Dallas Cowboys who, if I'm not mistaken, their offensive line led the league in penalties from an offensive line, and then they drafted a guy who led the NCAA in penalties in holding penalties from the offensive line.
So here's the thing: there's definitely going to be some technique rework, and they're going to have to, in Kobe's word, he's going to have to build that thing anew, right? He's going to have to start over from scratch, but he's going to be playing guard. He's not going to be playing left tackle for Dallas. The biggest thing is you look at what Dallas did last year, penalties wise. First of all, Connor Williams, if I'm not mistaken, led all offensive linemen, or at least all offensive guards, in holding penalties. And I forget the podcaster's name, but he made a very good point. The thing about Tyler Smith is you're going to put him at left guard, and he may, he's going to be some growing pains. He may have some penalties, but he's not going to get bullied around. Tyler Smith is a big, strong kid, whereas Connor Williams was very weak. He didn't really have a strong natural core strength. So a lot of defensive linemen were pushing him around, and he was getting driven back 10, 15 yards. And once again, it was just a completely different skill set. So he was overmatched more times than not. Whereas Tyler Smith, they're going to put him in there. He's a mauler. Biggest thing is he's just going to have to fix his pad level.
That was probably the first thing you've seen on his scout report is that he's a mauler. Literally, those words.
He's a physical kid, and he's really athletic as well. So he's a guy that could maybe start out being a left guard, but they're also looking at the possibility of him being a left tackle in the future when Tyron Smith is done. So once again, I'm not going to say it's not as much of a project as people think there is. He's going to start, right? He's going to start day one. But they're definitely going to work on a lot of technique with him and make sure he's getting his hands under him. But to me, he'll be fine.
All right. Let's see here. We actually talked about Kenny Pickett early on in the show.
Great fit. He's a great fit for Pitt.
Yeah, and then, like you said, I didn't even know that he had that relationship with Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin, yep.
Even previous to that. Here, I'm gonna get to one more question, and then we're gonna get to our other topic here, which is who won the draft.
And then
who do you think will make an instant impact on the new team? We talked about Jermaine Johnson. I think he will.
Oh, yeah.
Like you said, I mean, he's a guy who can come right in and get double-digit sacks right away. I actually kind of think the same for Aiden Hutchinson.
Aiden Hutchinson will be a double-digit sack guy year one. Book it.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's a couple guys right there who I think can pay dividends.
I'll tell you this. We were talking about reaches. and obviously we're talking about Travon Walker. He's not even going to be the best rookie defender on his team. Devin Lloyd is going to pay immediate dividends for Jacksonville. And I say that because anybody that watches Devin Lloyd, I've said this a million times on Rooted in Sports, I watched his tape, and there were times where I felt like I was watching a safety because his ball skills are so good. He can blitz. He can stop the run. He has great intangibles. Right, he's a leader, so he's a guy that other defenders rally around. He's like an Energizer bunny. So he's going to pay. He's going to be probably their best linebacker year one. And I'm surprised he fell that far.
And he'll slide right in for another linebacker that they drafted a few years ago that didn't quite pan out.
Miles
Jack. Yeah. So
right. Yeah,
no doubt. All right. I guess. Well, for right now, last but not least on this draft, what team had the best draft? I'll let you go ahead and start with that. What team do you feel had the best draft here in the NFL?
You got to say the Jets. You have to say the Jets, and I say that because not only did they draft well, but they met needs and they got guys. They got solid players. They got some players well ahead of probably not well ahead. Okay, so I'll put you like this. They drafted Jermaine Johnson at the back end of the first round, who some teams had rated as the second rated pass rusher in the entire draft.
Yep.
Right. So, and then they draft Garrett Wilson, who to me was about the second or third best wide receiver in this draft, but they get Garrett Wilson at 10. He feels a wide receiver need. Right. Then they drafted, I want to say their first, they drafted
Sauce Gardner.
Sauce Gardner, right? Who was the
4.
And Sauce Gardner was the top rated corner in the draft, but obviously the Texans kind of shocked everybody and took Derek Stingley at 3.
Yeah, I speaking of, obviously Trayvon Walker was a riser, but not. I actually think. Personally, I thought that Stingley was the best corner in the draft, but I think because of some of the things he had going on, I thought Gardner probably should have went ahead of him.
True. And I'm going to tell you another player that the Jets drafted who a lot of people aren't talking about.
Running back?
They drafted Breece Hall.
Breece Hall, yep.
Yeah, they drafted Breece Hall, who was the top-rated running back in the draft, and they got him in the second round. They're going to pair him with the kid that they drafted out of North Carolina last year, and they're really going to
Michael Carter, was it?
Michael Carter Jr. And now they're going to have a pretty respectable run game, 1-2 combo between both of them, which Michael Carter Jr. was as at his best. That's how he was in North Carolina. He was in a running back tandem. And they're really doing a lot to take pressure off of Zach Wilson so he can develop. And I just think the Jets put together a really good draft. Maybe if I could got me thinking about a few other teams. I mean, go ahead.
I was just gonna say we literally had the same team picked here. I literally had the New York Jets, and as you mentioned, they go at 4 they get Sauce Gardner, at 10 they get Garrett Wilson, at 26 they get Jermaine Johnson at 26. Then you mentioned Breece Hall, running back out of Iowa State, and then tight end Jeremy Ruckert from Ohio
State, who was pretty damn good. Yeah.
So first 5 picks, home runs, I think nailed them. You know what I'm saying? And they literally filled needs on their team. You know what I'm saying? Because there was another team that had a few needs. I think they needed to really get some pieces around for the quarterback up there, and they really were able to really go about and fill some needs. Let's see. I did like Philly's draft.
Philly had a really good draft. A few, obviously, Nakobe Dean. Oh, by the way, Nakobe Dean is actually he's perfect for their defense.
Yeah.
One, they needed a linebacker, but anybody that knows Jonathan Gannon's system, he's been said kind of like his defense is based around his player strengths. So he kind of runs a lot of multiple looks, some even and odd man fronts. And Nakobe Dean is, even though he's a small guy, he's very versatile. He can cover, he can blitz very well. He's an athlete. As a matter of fact, I went as far as to say that Nakobe Dean, sometimes I watched him where I'm like, it's kind of giving me Derek Brooks vibes just because of his athleticism and how fast he closes on the ball. And he's a small guy, obviously 5'11", 225.
And real quick, back to the Jets, and I know we keep talking about over and over this Jermaine Johnson pick. If we think back to their head coach, Robert Sela, and I know I always mess his name up, but Robert Sela, previous to being their head coach, he was the defensive coordinator with the San Francisco 49ers. And if you remember, one of the things that he kind of predicated and built his defense on was linemen being able to rush the quarterback. If you remember, because I think at one time he had like 3 or 4 first rounders on their D line, you know what I'm saying, getting the quarterback. And so I think he's now with the Jets. He's probably trying to get back into that same mold, and I think he's really trying to build a pass rush to really help that defense there. So they really addressed a lot of needs. Like you said, obviously Philly. I like you said, I love that Nakobe Dean pick. I think that was another one of those we could have put at best fit. I was surprised he fell. He was another a surprise faller for me. I don't know if you necessarily had him that high, but he was another surprise faller for me. But
isn't it said? What do you think about receiver Justin Ross going undrafted? I mean, hey, but I'm gonna tell you this: it happens. You know, obviously Justin Ross. You know, we knew anyone that watches college football knows that he's pretty solid. But honestly, that's it might be a blessing in disguise for him because he gets to choose, and teams are gonna go after him. He gets to choose where he wants to go, and he could go to a team that's devoid of wide receiver talent, like in Atlanta, or Detroit, and get somewhere where he can really get playing time immediately. So some guys who are talented that fall and go undrafted, it's like a blessing in disguise for him. Chiefs signed him.
Oh, the Chiefs signed him.
Yeah. Okay. Good choice for him. I mean, I would have chose Atlanta because I mean, once again,
I even like them, and we didn't mention them. I even like them getting Karlaftis.
Oh yeah,
because he was a guy another guy that was kind of all over the draft, all over these mock drafts. You know what I'm saying? And
I've seen him as early as top 15, top 10, top 15. So So you're right. A lot of mixed opinions on where he would go.
But yeah, I liked that pick for them.
So okay. Well, I'll tell you this. We actually got a good guest coming on. He's not in the room yet, but we gotta touch on these playoff series really quick. You know, the Bucks, you know, just kind of manhandled Boston the other day, which to me was very surprising to me because Boston was starting to make me a believer. They got the number 1 perimeter defense in the NBA. You know, they're switching on folks, but obviously the Bucks pose a completely different challenge for him because Giannis is the best player in the world right now.
He is.
So I mean, what did you see?
He is.
He is. Point. Yeah. Like somebody's gonna be like, no, he's the best player in the world right now.
Yeah.
Most dominant. So just jumping in, we'll talk a little bit more football later, fellas. But just jumping into to the NBA. He said Stanley Cup just started as well, baby. Oh yeah, I'm becoming a hockey fan.
I was just gonna say we might have to have you on for that one. Go ahead and educate me. You know what I'm saying?
I'm becoming a hockey fan, Humphreys. But so talk to us about the Bucks Celtics series. What did you see in game 1?
Point blank period. They're not playing the Brooklyn Nets no more. You know, like I think that looking at that game 1, it really kind of showed me, and I hate to say this, but it really kind of showed me just how soft of a team the Brooklyn Nets really were, because they were getting bullied, manhandled by what looked like the tougher, more physical, bigger team. And then to see Boston go out there game 1 and they got bullied and manhandled by a tougher, more physical team. And then Brooklyn's already a small team. Boston isn't really that big of a team. And then you look at Milwaukee, they go out there and they start Brook Lopez, they start Bobby Portis, and then obviously Giannis. Like, they're just physical. And their size was just really just took over the game.
And all those guys are 6'10" and up.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And then to have, Portis and Brook Lopez, both of those guys can stretch the floor as well. They both can shoot the 3 as bigs. You know what I'm saying? So Giannis, and I also think that game 1 was a big presentation of how Giannis's game has matured and why right now he probably is the best player in the game. Because in all honesty, offensively, he didn't have his best game. He was 9 for 25 from the field.
But he created
had a slew of turnovers. But he
created a lot of.
He did create a lot of opportunities for guys. He ended up with a triple-double. Yeah. And that's the maturation in his game. That's why nowadays it's so hard for people to, as they used to say, build the wall now. Because A, he has developed a little bit of a post game. B, he is working, improving on his mid-range shot, so he's starting to knock that down. And then C, he's becoming a really, really, really good passer as a double team. And then guys are stepping up for Milwaukee. Pat Connaughton knocked down some shots. Grayson Allen. I think I had put up a post when they were playing the Bulls, my precious Bulls. I had put up a post on Facebook. I said Grayson Allen hadn't missed a shot since they went to Chicago, since the series shifted to Chicago. And he's just carried that right on to Boston. I mean, and you almost forget that Chris Middleton is out and he's going to miss this whole series. Coming into this series, I actually had Boston. I think I had Boston in 6 or 7.
I had Boston in 6.
But I thought that loss of Chris Middleton would really be a little more impactful, you know what I'm saying? Because I felt like they wouldn't necessarily have that other guy that would really, help when they were double and triple teaming on Giannis. I didn't think they had that other guy that can really go out and create on his own, or that other guy that they can depend upon to get another 20 points or so. But here we go, and most of America go once again underestimating Jrue Holiday. Like
Jrue Holiday can hoop.
Jrue Holiday he's arguably one of the most underrated players in the NBA.
Two-way players.
Especially, you took the words out of my mouth. Especially as a two-way player, because he's gonna give it to you offensively and defensively. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna go out there and try to stick the other team's best wing defender. You know what I'm saying? And then on the other end, he gonna go out there. He gonna post up your point guard. You know what I'm saying? He gonna knock down his open shots. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I think Milwaukee just proved themselves to be more of a physical team. And then as for Boston, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown really kind of struggled. We seen them really imposing their will on the games against Brooklyn. This is a different beast. You know what I'm saying? Now they're facing a team who's just as, if not more, physical than they are. And
experienced.
And you know what I'm saying? Championship pedigree. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about the defending champions you're playing here. And I think they wanted to go out and send a message as well. So
I want to ask you this. All right. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we know they were overmatched in the paint. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think, Milwaukee out-rebounded the living shit out of them. I think Giannis, Brook Lopez, and Bobby Portis all had double-digit rebounds. But outside of that, and you can tell me what you think of this, I think one of the biggest things that, and you've spoke about this in the past, that is coming back to haunt Boston, is that when it comes to when they don't have as much space and they're playing a tough defensive team, they don't have that true point guard to really play make and get them the ball in tight spaces and really orchestrate the offense. What do you think?
I've actually alluded to that before. Mm-hmm. However, it's funny you say that because and I still kind of feel that way. Mm-hmm. But I was looking at their previous series against Brooklyn. In games 3 and 4, Marcus Smart was that guy for them. And I know yesterday Marcus Smart kind of went out with a little shoulder injury or whatever he had going on. So I don't know if that made a difference or they kind of, missed him or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I agree. And I think you've heard me mention that before. They are missing that real prototypical point guard who can, get them into sets and really just get a good shot for those guys, man. So yeah, that's a great point, actually.
Okay, so that's Celtics Bucks game 1. Let's touch really quick. You can tell me your thoughts on the Warriors Grizzlies series, and then we'll bring on this interesting fellow into this room.
Well, real quick, I think you seen another case where championship residue, you know what I'm saying, championship pedigree just showing his head, you know what I'm saying? You seen a more experienced team find a way to get a victory, even with one of their more important players getting kicked out on a really, really bogus foul, flagrant 2 call. Like, and I know how Draymond Green is. I'm not a huge fan of his antics, but I mean, you really seen them get tossed out for a really, really bogus flagrant 2 call, man. This is the playoffs. You can't do that in the playoffs. But I mean, you seen them find a way to win. Ja Morant was going crazy. Jaren Jackson Jr. was going crazy, but you seen them find a way to win. Jordan Poole has made himself a lot of money. Jordan Poole has made himself okay. Well, as they like to say, it's been quite a few pool parties of late. Okay, like that man has made himself a lot of money, and now I mean they went on and got Steph Curry back into the starting lineup. It doesn't even really matter Jordan Poole whether he's starting, coming off the bench. That man's hey, he done made himself an awful lot of money. But yeah, I just think that was a case of championship pedigree just proving itself. But I do think what I will say is that I do think this is going to be a little more of a competitive series than I originally thought, because Memphis played their tails off, and they probably should have won this game.
And I'm gonna tell you something, and it's funny. For years everybody's been making this Ja Morant, Russell Westbrook, player comp. And I think for the first time, you kind of seen a little bit of maybe he could have paced the game a little bit better because he was such an energizer bunny. You could tell when watching the Grizzlies, they're a young, rambunctious team.
Yeah,
but they're still learning how to close out games.
They are.
Yeah.
Like we said before, the oldest player on the team, if I'm not mistaken, is Steven Adams, and Steven Adams is only 28. You know what I'm saying?
29. Yeah.
We're looking at a team. Majority of those guys are making their first or second playoff appearance. None of them have gotten even to the second round, because last year they won a play-in and they lost to Utah, I believe it was last year. So none of those guys have even, gotten to the second round. But Memphis, I can't quite get a grasp on them, because I look at a game. I'm gonna say this real quick, and then we can get our boy up in here. I look at a game like yesterday, and I say, man, Memphis really played their tails off. They the two people who you can argue are their best players. I know Desmond Baines had a breakout season. Dylan Brooks is solid, but the two players who you can argue are their best players had phenomenal games. But I mean, they still lost. Right. So I mean, you look at them yesterday and you're like, man, this is a good team.
They just gotta settle down.
But you think back real quick. If we being honest, Memphis should have lost 4-1 to Minnesota. So
arguable.
It's just hard to know who this Memphis team really is, because they should have lost that series.
I think they're OKC in their younger years when they had Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. A very young, talented team, but it's just a learning curve. And I think you'll see them grow and get better year by year, because obviously, Baines is becoming a star. We already know Ja Morant's a star. Dylan Brooks has his moments, but then we have Jaren Jackson Jr., who has so much damn potential. And we're seeing him play his best basketball. So that's a
real stretch forward. Jaren Jackson Jr. led the league in blocks, if I'm not mistaken, blocks per game. So
yeah, exactly. So very up and down. So it's gonna be an exciting series. Hopefully the Grizzlies can they settle down and make it a little bit more. Well, it's gonna be competitive either way, but we'll see if they can grab a few. But Golden State isn't gonna lay down by any means, and they have a lot of young, talented players as well. Shout out to Jonathan Kuminga, by the way. I just love this kid. He's super talented.
Yeah. He's in a great place, great situation. Golden State, I still got Golden State in 5, but I think Memphis will have some really tough games. They'll make some really tough games. It'll be a tough 5-game series.
Okay. So we're gonna bring on the sports Duke. Look, he said, stop playing me. The sports king. The biggest Ohio State fan I've ever met in my life.
Okay.
The big all jokes aside, he's a Michigan guy, Michigan fan. The big Vanilla Funny. Okay. one of my really good friends and probably one of the best sports guys that I know, Veejay Vernon. We're gonna bring him in here. The Vetson Network and Husky Bets, and we're gonna talk some basketball and talk some NFL draft. Let me get him in here. What's going on, brother?
What's good? What's good?
How you doing, bro? How you doing?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm blessed, man. Thanks for having me, Swan Don. I already know my man, Swan Don. Nice to meet you, my brother. Nice to meet you.
Oh, yeah, likewise, man. Definitely appreciate you coming on and, you know what I'm saying, chopping it up with us, man. It's going to be fun.
Oh, no, I'm ready to jump in. I'm already listening to all the stuff y'all were just talking. If you're looking at my screen, I'm like, nah, oh, yeah, all
right. I'm going to tell you this. Me and VJ, I'm convinced we were born to disagree with each other, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. We're born to disagree with each other, or you were just born to be wrong up against me. So you could take
no. We're born to disagree with each other. I'll stand my ground. Look, I'll stand my damn ground. But how about this? Jumping in, obviously, since we were just talking basketball.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about. I want to hear your thoughts on obviously the Bucks Celtics series and the Warriors Grizzlies, and plus give us the over and under. We got to do Husky bets. I want the over and under moving forward. So let us know. Talk to us.
Well, I want to jump right into the Grizzlies and Warriors series that you guys are talking about, because you both are saying a bunch of correct things, but I think they're being delivered with the wrong narrative. This idea that the Grizz had first of all, Swan, I agree with you. I picked 5 or 6. This ain't close. All right, they're gonna fight at home, but they're getting blown out. They're getting their asses handed to them in Oakland twice.
Word.
And you didn't thrown out Draymond on that. It's not bogus. The slap, what he got thrown out for was the slap in the head, not the jersey. And the commentators, and this is why I tell people, turn your volume down sometimes when you're watching sports. And don't fail the eye test. Believe what your eyes, because they're like, oh my God. And then, of course, they go to halftime and Jalen say something. And you know who say something. This is utterly disgusting. That we got to sit here and talk about this foul. We should, if you look
so you don't think that he made a play on the ball initially?
No. Why from the back angle they kept showing? Yeah. From the angle, like if you were sitting on this corner baseline looking at the court that way, he comes down and slaps him in the top of his head and kind of, I don't know if he did it on purpose, but he slaps him hard as hell in the head and breaks down his face. That's what he got thrown out for. It wasn't the jersey pull, even though he pulled the jersey. Draymond's smart. He pulled the jersey, but held on to it so it looked like he was trying to hold him. And I'm saying all this, and Tiberius to tell you, I'm a Draymond fan. But as a professional, I got to call it like I see it. All right. Should he been thrown out? No. But I know why he got thrown out. Just why.
It was more of a you think it was more of a reputation thing?
Just like Rashid would get thrown out. Just like Artest would have got thrown out. Just like Oakley would have got thrown out. Just like Malone would have got.
There's a paper trail.
So
true that.
They got priors.
So the narrative bogus. I don't agree with this idea though that Memphis played this great game. Y'all had 34 and 31 shots. He didn't shoot well at all from the field. He had turnovers. He started jacking up threes. He hit his first 2 threes, and I call that the LeBron syndrome. You're not a 3-point shooter, but when they hit early ones, they tend to take too many for that game. And your percentage is going to be what your percentage is. If you're 36, 35, 37 from the field, that's what you're going to shoot that night, whether you make your first 2 or you miss your first 2. It's your average.
True.
So when I saw that, I'm like, I said out loud, I don't like that. And when you look at the Warriors, you said it right, man. Championship mental. They are on the type of Kobe Bryant run he was on after Shaq, where Steph Curry has no finals MVPs. We know that's some BS, right? We know that's some BS. How does Iggy, let's stop. How does Iggy get one? And LeBron only averaged 40. He only averaged 40 and 13.
He had pivotal stops in that game.
I mean, Iggy gets one because the series changed the moment they inserted him into the lineup. Because we're talking about Steph Curry.
You get the Finals MVP.
Okay, so do you think that Steph Curry deserved the Finals MVP that series? Because Matthew Dellavedova had the clamps on him until like game 3.
Well, I mean, game 3 and they won in 6. So that mean in the other game, and so until game 3, so 2 games he had him on some clamps, and then once Steph figured him out, bang 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 bang. But I think
that also coincided with Andre Iguodala being inserted into the starting lineup and them going small. And Andre had some pretty, the numbers wasn't just phenomenal, but he had some pretty solid games during that series.
Yeah, he had some solid games, and that's what a role player inserted into the starter lineup is supposed to do. They don't win the finals MVP. That's fine, but I believe
he clearly couldn't have won it in any other year. The other 2 years were clearly KD.
Right. True.
No, I never agree with that.
So
if
you don't think he should have won it in 2015, he was outplayed in 20. What did they win? 2017, 2018. He was outplayed. Kevin Durant outplayed him.
All right, listen to me, gentlemen. In basketball, a guy that is superior and really great, like a LeBron or like a Kobe or a Steph or a KD, one of those guys, you're always going to look more dominant than the other great player on your team when you have a full, complete team. We just watched this man, and I'm from the DMV. I'm from 703, 305. I watched Durant when he was 14. I'm a fan, but I got to call it like I see it. There's no way in hell that defense and that team should have locked him up like that. They are Boston. They do have a great defense. They're long, but I've
never seen him flustered like that.
But if you were supposedly, and I've never said this because I've always thought it was LeBron to a point, and then I never wrote the Kawhi Leonard best player in the game. When people tell me that you're the best player on the planet, you can't be held in check like that. Barkley said it at halftime, and everybody got upset with him. Barkley said, "I don't think one of my problem. A playoff series, I ain't never averaged 20. You're supposed to average 30. If you're a great player, you go get 2 games by yourself. You go get 2 games. That's why the Celtics series is done. Giannis didn't even get last night's game. Giannis still got 2 games. He gonna go get himself.
Yeah, and that's a great point. That's a great point.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But last night, I don't think they played so great. I thought they were home. They had the juice. They had the most rest. They were the most rested. They hit some early threes. The Warriors were turning the ball over carelessly, like they can do sometimes, and like we've seen them to have propensity to do over the last 7-8 seasons. Sometimes they just get in these lows where they throw the ball away a lot. Yeah. But like you said, when you're a champion, you can overcome all of that. They can't overcome even a 34-point night from their best so-called new next young player in the league at home with rest. You took 31 jacks, homie, and I ain't mad at that you shot, but 31 jacks, I need 44. I need 45 if you putting up 31 shots. I need Kobe tonight, bro. I need LeBron on the road tonight. That's why I'm looking at him like, yeah, I've seen him before. His name was Derrick Rose. I've seen him before. His name was Tracy McGrady. I've seen him before. His name is Penny Hardaway. I've seen point guards come into this league and are explosive like him. Bro, he nice. But this talk that he is going to take them somewhere, this team won't be together in 2 years, guys. Trust me.
But I think if he doesn't take them somewhere, I don't think it'll be any fault of his. I just think it's because we're not sure if Desmond Bane or Dylan Brooks or Jaren Jackson, we're not sure if they're true number 2s to help him.
They're not.
I don't think it'll be any fault of Ja Morant's, because I think all we've seen from Ja Morant is him improve and improve and improve. I think that if he doesn't get them anywhere, it'll be because of what they have around him. And I like all those young guys, but I still think they need a definitive number 2 along with those guys. And now we might be cooking with some grease.
And I'll wrap it up on this. You're right on the number 2. He needs a number 2. Those role players, guys, they maybe 1 or 2 of them.
You don't think Jaren Jackson could blossom into a number 2?
No.
Defensively, yes.
Yeah, he's a great defender.
He shouldn't be
a good help defender, should I say.
He shouldn't be trying to be your number 2. He should be trying to be your franchise rim protector and make up and mistake cover up. That's what you should be training him for. The NBA is not a big dominant man. There's only one in the league is Embiid, and he going home early. He going home early.
And Jaren Jackson's specialty is that he can block shots on one end and he can stretch the floor on the other end.
Yes.
You're not really just going to be giving him the ball and he's just going to be going to get buckets. But that's his specialty. So I don't see him necessarily being a true number 2. But neither do I see that for Desmond Bane or for Dylan Brooks. I think they're just really good shooters.
No. And listen, sooner or later, you got to do a little more than shoot at some point, and maybe don't add that to the game. I look at this Memphis team. You compared them, Tiberius, to OKC, not even close. They don't have a. He ain't Russ yet. Russ did triple-double 3 years in a row. He not that yet.
Well, okay, go
ahead, Kenny.
So you're telling me you don't think this version of Ja Morant is not as good, if not better, than Russell Westbrook was at that time?
At maybe close to as good, but definitely not better. Absolutely not. No. You guys got to go back and watch, man. You got to go. We're prisoners of the moment, guys. You got to go back and watch.
I disagree because I always say all the time that You know what I'm saying? He is Russell Westbrook, but he plays with better pace. You know what I'm saying? You rarely, and there was some instances in the game yesterday, but when you watch Ja Morant overall, rarely do you say, man, he out of control, or man, he doing too much, or rarely do you say, bro, you said that yesterday, but rarely do you say, bro, you know you can't really shoot like that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times you see him doing what he does best, which is attacking the rim with ferocity. You know what I'm saying? Or you'll see him at times really try to back it out and slow the game down and really get a good quality shot. Whereas Russell Westbrook has been who Russell Westbrook is since UCLA. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I'm not so hyped up on
one of his biggest.
Westbrook.
I think Russell Westbrook's biggest
comparison. My comparison is I've seen him before because I've seen Derrick Rose. And Derrick Rose's third year, he won MVP and took his team to the conference finals with Joakim Noah as his real.
I'm a Chicago guy. I know.
Okay,
I know.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. You guys are talking. I never mentioned Russell. You asked me about Russell. I said I've seen Derrick Rose. I've seen Penny Hardaway. I've seen other point guards come into the league and dominate and have this explosiveness. And Penny used to yam on 7-footers. There are no 7-footers for him to yam on. And then Penny could go give you 45, give you 51, give you 52. Like Penny was cold. So when I see Morant in an easier league to guard, not a lot of contact, it doesn't matter. He going home in 5 or 6, and then they're gonna have to figure this out. But I'm telling you guys, this team will not be together in 3 years. This team will break up. You guys get money. The league is not the same. Or sooner or later, he's gonna have to get out of Memphis. I don't know if he'll go to LA or go to New York or the big cities, but there's always the Heat with money. There's always the Bulls with money. There's these other teams. No one stays in Memphis. As long as all of us been watching basketball, ain't nothing ever come out of a championship out of Memphis. As long as all of us been watching.
True, you can say guy who's really on getting to superstardom level that's been there. And we can go all the way back to, and they were in Vancouver, but we can go all the way back to Pau Gasol when he was with them. You know what I'm saying? He was never necessarily a true superstar.
But he was their number one option for
you go to those rough and tough years when they had Zebo and Tony Allen and Mike Conley. They never really had a true superstar. I think he's the first guy who has the opportunity to be a true superstar for them.
So he's not that yet though, correct?
He's close.
I think he's very close.
Okay, is he that or not? Yes or no? Close means no. Okay, so I'll take a no. So close means no. Because if you say close could be a year. Close could be 2 years, right? Close could be a week. He could turn this whole series around and start busting their ass. And next thing you know, we sit back on the show like, how is Memphis up 3-1? That's not
close. So in that case, close could be a week. Because if he turns it around and beats this Golden State team, he's a superstar.
All right. I'm gonna hold you to that.
Yeah, but we agree that this series is done. We agree.
Exactly. So he won't be a superstar in a week. On to the Boston series just real fast. I don't want to keep from the show, man. And to me, I picked the Bucks in 6. They have the better team, the better defense. Everybody's talking about Boston defense. Here's a cool stat, man. The Bucks have 3 current and former all-defensive first-team players on that team right now. Lopez, Holiday, Giannis is now. Giannis is a 3-time. All the Boston defense talk, you had to guard 2 players with a head coach who was an assistant on that bench last year. He knew how to attack them. Curry ankle, Drummond in the middle, and if they basically say, all right, you can get the ball to Bruce. We'll let Bruce go off, but Bruce is not going to beat us over 7 games. You can let Bruce go off, but you, nada. But the media hyped that up, and when I saw this, just people were like, Boston's gonna. I said, bro, Giannis is on some Kobe joint right now. He's on some young LeBron mission right now. We're seeing everybody's talking about all these other players, and the one guy I keep talking about, I put 100 on the Bucks to come out of the East in February on a plus 750. So if they come out of the East, I win almost $1,000 off of $100 bet. But in February, I just said, you know what? I trust champions. I trust champions. If everybody's there, I trust champions. I said, all right, Lopez is out, Connaughton's out. Them cats are back now.
Is Giannis the best player in the league right now in your eyes?
Yeah.
And you want to know something? This is something I had to think about and kind of seeing Giannis's his addiction to the game. I'm not going. When you said that Kobe stuff, I said I feel like for the first time that we're seeing somebody that thinks like Kobe thought, or like Mike. Like I don't care nothing about hanging out, going on vacations, and banana boats with motherfuckers in the off season. I'm trying to play ball and get better. And
who do you spend the summer with? Who did he spend that summer with? Kobe.
I think it's family. Oh yeah.
No, Kobe. You got the backstory is he felt his career. They got eliminated like back-to-back years in the first round. He went to spend the summer with Kobe, and Kobe said, "All right, this is what you're going to do. First, you got to get your MVP. You got to get you an MVP, so it shows that coaches can trust you, the fans can trust you, and other players can trust you because you're the best player in the league." He said, and then you got to go get you a championship. Giannis, you can video it. Giannis talks about it all the time. He went and spent, him and Devin Booker. That's why people started talking to Devin Booker Kobe stuff. And Devin wasn't holding at the time, and Devin shut it down like, look, I'm not Kobe.
Absurd.
Yeah,
I like Devin, but that was a little absurd.
Yeah, well, you know who but it's because of the guy who put it out there. It's because of the guy who said it. So everybody's like, what? The minute, dude, I'm a Kobe guy. I got Kobe and Gianna in my crib, man. I got Kobe and Gianna, right? If anybody compares anybody other to Kobe again that played today, bro, I might stop talking sports.
Like a face.
I know, bro.
You can tell he feels that in his soul.
I could take
I feel him. No, I feel him.
Yeah.
I feel him.
But the next Kobe, I'm just saying mentality wise, he's on some. Okay, I got one. Giannis been around, man. Giannis is going to 30. I got one, and but I know I need a few for people to respect me. And I'm going to go get more. And I just think Middleton, I think they telling Middleton, you know what? Heal up. We got this series. Don't need him next series, but heal up. We got this series. I had him in 6. And I just think Boston Brown, man, became a jump shooter last night. Started 1 for 9. Tatum driving to the hoop. Tatum isn't explosive. So when he gets in the lane, it's a lot of Euro step and creativeness. It's not Morant. It's not Morant coming through the lane, banging. So their defense with Lopez and Giannis, you saw how many shots they changed in the first half, and then it got up here. He had some buckets, but it got up here. Yeah, and then you can see at that point, game was done.
And you mentioned the 3-point shot. If I'm not mistaken, Boston took like 53s yesterday, and that's not who they are.
You know why? You know why they took them? Because 7-foot Lopez, 7-foot Giannis, and you got and you got
Bobby Portis 6'10".
Exactly. Yeah. You got Portis, and then you have an all first team guard and Holiday that's guarding the point anyway. So it's even hard to get. Yeah. When I looked at this series, man, and all the talk was Boston's defense, I'm like, have y'all not watched the Bucks defense when they're healthy? And all those guys are healthy and back now, man. So I picked them in 6, but Golden State series, this is in 5 or 6. This is over early. And this young team, they hot for right now, man. But it won't last.
And tell me what you think about this, Veejay. I asked Swan this question earlier. What do you think about Boston? Do you think it's showing that they really lack a true distributing point guard to really help them out in moments like this? Do you think that's really showing now?
It's showing, but I believe Tatum and Brown are supposed to do that. When you are the star and it's your squad, like Barkley said, when you're driving a bus, at times when you don't normally do something, you still have to be able to step in that role and do that. Like we weren't used to seeing Kobe bring the ball up the court. It was a lot of Fisher after Shaq. But then in them clutches, Kobe was taking the ball and like, give me the ball. I'm bringing it up. Whether I take the shot or not, but let me get us into our offense. Ain't no disagreement. And the veteran knows, give it to the legend, give it to the icon. I'm a 3-point shooter, but let me just give it, and you see things happen. I just think both those guys have to do more of that. I got no problem with Smart running the offense because he does make some really good decisions. He's really a good basketball player. He's not a great defender. I look at him, I'm like, that's just a basketball player. He could play on my squad any day. He play for me any day. A guy like that. So I don't know, man, because who you gonna go get? They tried it, right? Kimba. They bought in Kyrie. My man Afro.
It didn't work.
I mean, but all of those guys, all those Kimba, Kyrie, the guys you mentioned, are really more score first point guards.
Yeah,
ISO guys.
That's what the league is, though.
I miss Scary Terry.
Dog, I miss guys like, I don't know how old you guys are, but I miss guys like Rod Strickland. Guys like I call him Uncle Andre Miller because he played till he was like 56. I think his grandson.
I actually met him in Cali one time, man. He's a real good dude. Dude.
Yeah, Rod Strickland, Andre Miller. I grew up in the era of real true point. Dude, I was a John Starks
Mark fan. Jackson. I loved Mark Jackson.
Don't even get me started.
I love Mark Jackson. He was playing.
Hey, Swan, tell him
he averaged 6 points and 11 assists and controlled the entire game.
Controlled the whole game.
Hey, Swan. He mentioned John Stockton. What was we told about John Stockton?
No, John Starks.
Oh,
I said Starks. I'm naming guards. Stockton's a Hall of Fame battle. I'm naming the guards that don't get that love. But Charlie Ward, 15 years in the league. 15 years in the league.
Heisman winner.
And just like Swan just said, he controlled the game. What's the point?
Yeah.
But that's not. There's no more Ewans, so you don't need Charlie Wards. You know what I'm saying? There's no more David Robinsons.
The
so you don't need no more Avery Johnsons. You need Tony Parker.
So you think that you think the death of the true big was also the death of the old school distributing point guard.
And I think the only guys you really see like that now is Chris Paul. Yeah.
And you know, but you know what? We're watching.
But he has an 8.
Fan or not, and I'm not, but I am enjoying this last part of his career because I know it's going to be a long time before I at least watch that again, where you can watch a guard go get 23 and then 13 assists. And when you look at the stat sheet, it's like, damn, he had 23. I know he had the downs, but how did he get to the free throw
19
line,
of that in the fourth quarter?
Quietly productive.
Pull up jumper. Yeah, just the stuff the guards, though, the mid-range, and this is true. Here, I'll even go deeper. We scuba guy, we snorkeling. Let's scuba dive, man. Put your snorkel, put your tank on. We snorkeling. Let's go deep. What happened was the mid-range left. And when the mid-range left the game, the guards would get into the mid-range and then still dump to the fours. Your Horace Grant at the elbow. At one point with
16,
Chicago,
18 footers. Oh, yes,
sir. You know, dog.
Yes, sir.
For about a 4-year run, that shot at the elbow off Harper or BJ or somebody or Paxson get into the paint. And then, no, Jordan, fake you there. And you're looking at Pippen, all you got. But here's Horace. That little elbow right next to the free throw line jumper, he made famous. And he made
an all-star game hitting. He made an all-star team one year, making 16 to 18 footers. And
that's all he did. And he only averaged like 7 boards. His career, he averaged like 7 boards. He wasn't a big rebounder, but the mid-range went away, man. And Kenneth, and when the mid-range went away, it took that point guard out and it made him a scorer. And then it told all the big men, you got to learn to shoot the 3 now because everybody's shooting it. So it took that away. But to go deep on that, it started with the mid-range. If you put the mid-range back in the game, you'll see more big guys. You'll see more classic point guards come back to basketball.
And I think something else that kind of changed that too. And I'm gonna name 2 coaches, and they have one thing in common. Although they've changed the way the NBA plays offensive basketball, Don Nelson, and then a little after him, Mike D'Antoni. You know, those guys have predicated on what kind of the 8-second or less offense and getting out fast and getting a lot of threes. And if you notice, both of those guys, they won a lot of games. Neither guy has a ring. I think Mike D'Antoni, you've seen his imprints all over this Brooklyn Net team.
Run and gun?
Yeah. Because, I mean, obviously, you got his disciple coaching it. And Steve Nash. Mike D'Antoni is on that bench. And Steve Nash, for the life of him, he just doesn't coach defense. He's let him score. Let's get up some.
He never played it. He never played it. He never played it. So you can't coach. You know why? I like Dallas to knock off this Phoenix team. No, I haven't watched the games. I'll watch them when we're done with the show, and I got another show to do after this. I think I picked Dallas to win that series because Jason Kidd was a ball-on-ball defender, and once he got Luka to sell into defense while giving somebody 37 and 14 and 10, they got better and they went on a run and they went from like 11th in the West. And they just kept every week you would look, it's like, damn, Dallas, 6-game win streak. Okay, lose a few, 4-game win streak, lose one, 5-game win. And it was all defense. And I give them a real shot. And just for the money factor, y'all's got to take a playoff series. That's going to win you big if you put a little money on it. I took the Mavs on the money line to win this series. It's at a plus 1250. So if you put 100 up, you get almost $1,400 back.
Do they have
that's a brave take right there. That's a brave take.
I know.
So let me ask you.
That's what I do.
Do they have a final shot? Do they have a final shot, Veejay?
The Mavs to the finals?
Do they have a final shot? Do they have a legitimate opportunity? But like, who would they see in the Western Conference? They would see Golden State, right?
They would see Golden State probably.
Them and Golden State, but and they'd win and Golden State win in 6. My finals at the beginning of the year was Golden State and the Bucks. So that's what I'm riding. That's what I'm still sticking with. At the beginning of the year on my preview show on Veejay's Sportsman Icona, I went with the Warriors. Everybody's healthy. I said, give me the Warriors and the Bucks in the finals, knowing that Clay was coming back. But no, they'll lose that one because Luka, like Luka needs the number 2. Porzingis and him didn't get along. Something happened there. And
Jalen Brunson been in his bag though. Jalen Brunson has been in his bag.
But he's not a 2 though.
And that's why I don't think they can beat Phoenix because I think Phoenix has a few guys that they can kind of throw at Luka. They're not gonna stop him because Luka's is just. No. I mean, he's just too talented. They're not gonna stop him, but they got a few guys they could throw at him. And I just don't know. I like Jalen Brunson and his progression, but I just don't know as a number 2 option if he'll be able to do enough for them to beat a healthy, if Devin Booker's healthy, a healthy Phoenix Suns team.
He looked good. He's best.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, and I'm not trying to play Brunson. Jay Wright recruited my nephew. He chose to go to Carolina, but it was between Carolina and Villanova. So Jay Wright's a great guy, great basketball.
Shout out to Jay Wright, just retired.
Yeah, no doubt. He has all those Villanova guys, all the way back to Lowry. He has all those Villanova guys
Bridges
ready to play. Yeah, ready to play. Absolutely. Guys, especially because he gets them out of Philly. Yeah, and you get point guard. You get New York, Philly, LA, Dallas, Chicago. That's where you want your point guards from. Somewhere in the country, in the South, that's where you get your point guard from. But I don't think he's a number 2. And Luka, like I said, when you're a superstar, you go get 2 by yourself. Luka gonna get 2 by himself. Guaranteed. I don't trust Phoenix.
I can see that
because I thought last year was a fluke of them getting to the finals because everybody they played had a superstar or star player hurt. So I never respected them. Even up 2-0, I still have Bucks and 6, and I catch that in. Even up 2-0. So I don't believe in them this year at all. Trust me, one of these guys are not going to show up because I watched it already. I've seen the end of this movie before. You know what I'm saying? I read this book before. I've seen the end of Goodfellas. Harry still snitches on Paulie and Jimmy Conway. Harry still snitches on
no matter how many times you watch it, huh? It's the same outcome.
still Danny the Bull still snitches on Gotti. It never changes. And we just talked about Chris Paul, I've just never seen him win, bro. He's a great point guard, top 5 all time, first ballot Hall of Famer. I've never been a fan because I don't like dirty players. I don't care what you try to say was an accident. I know what looks on purpose. And when you start going in the man region, that's guy code in my book. And nothing upsets me more than a grown man breaking guy code, unspoken guy code. You don't hit another dude in competition below the belt, bro. Like, come on, man. And you did that in high school, twice in college.
You know what
I'm saying? It's like Grayson Allen. You dirty, dog.
I can't stand Grayson Allen.
I know you can't. Bulls fan. That's right, Bulls fan. I know you can't. He's the reason why you didn't finish a 2 or a 3 and you slipped like that because it knocked out your most important, not your best player, your most important player, though, is Caruso. He's your most important player. That's where the Lakers fell apart.
I agree. I agree. The defensive mentality that him and Lonzo too, the defensive mentality that those guys brought to the team was unmatched.
And he's going to have some 20-point nights when Levine may not be going, or DeMar may not be going, or Lonzo may not be going. I love that young team. Now, you want to talk about a young team, they just ran into some injuries. If you ask me, they're better than Memphis. Chicago. They just ran into some injuries this year. When you talk about young teams, I don't want to go.
I'm gonna say this real quick, and we're gonna get into this. I want us to get into this football too. I want us to get into this football real quick too. I'm gonna say this now. The Bulls on my team, and I love them to death, but I'm a realist. We're still like 2 years away.
How far is Memphis?
2 years away from really being a true contender in the Eastern Conference. Vucevic, we brought him over, and God bless him. You know what I'm saying? I think he's a little soft, and it's crazy to say that about a guy who averages 11, 12 rebounds, but I think he's a little soft, and I don't think he ever figured out how to play with DeRozan and Levine. If you watch him, he at times he just looks so out of place in the offenses. He just doesn't know what to do. I still think we need some size. I still think we are a really, really, really small team. We went out and got Tristan Thompson after the All-Star break.
6'8", 6'9".
I mean, it helped just because he was a physical body. It helped a little bit, but I mean, we can't depend on him for nothing else than to just sling his body around and get some offensive rebounds. I still think we're a little bit away. I think if we healthy next year, if Lonzo and Caruso can stay healthy next year, I could see us being a top 4 seed.
Well, they're talking about Zach LaVine possibly being on the move.
Yeah, I've heard that, but he got to have knee surgery in the offseason as well. So
yeah, but there are rumblings that he doesn't really want to. I guess he doesn't want to share that spotlight.
I like that team, and I think you're saying they're 2 years away. Memphis is 2 years away, so that's why I'm telling you. But if I had to look at both squads, and you said, okay, who's gonna, if they add pieces and stay together, stay healthy, who's gonna get further first? Is Chicago.
Oh no, Memphis is already ahead of us. They're second in the West already,
and they're about to go home in 5 or 6 games, dog.
in the second round to a championship team.
But you beat it. It doesn't matter. You said yourself, Swan.
They should have lost to the Timberwolves.
They should have lost.
They should have.
Okay, so don't tell me a team that should have lost to that squad in 5 is somehow.
Well, I guess you're just looking at their youth, whereas opposed you look at Chicago. You know, they have a DeMar DeRozan who's been around. By the way, I gotta give him credit. I didn't think he would ever become the player that he is this year.
Yeah, he kind of had a little bit of a resurgence.
Got the OJ Mayo syndrome, same high school, same city, and there were people, including myself. You know me, Tiberius. I admit when I'm wrong, when I go way out on a limb, and I like going way out on a limb. I thought OJ Mayo was gonna be the next Kobe, and I dropped that ball so bad, so bad. I said it on radio, man. I said it on local access sports talk TV shows. I was like, "Well, OJ," but I lived in LA, and I saw him play in high school, and I used to see him play out on the beaches and stuff like that. He was ridiculous, but when he got in the league, he got his bread, and then he didn't have that work ethic. But I thought he had so DeMar coming behind him. That's why people thought that. But he had a great season. I'm with you. I didn't think he would have that type of season, but I knew he's a really good player. He established himself as this is my team. I'm a star.
Yeah,
but
definitely a resurgence.
Add some size, and I think he get further.
And you spoke about the mid-range. I think DeMar DeRozan is doing his best to keep the mid-range alive.
Oh yeah.
Rip Hamilton, baby. I'm a Pistons fan. Rip Hamilton, baby.
Oh Lord. You done threw the Rip Hamilton reference out, boy.
I grew up hating the Bulls, man. I respected them, but I've been a Pistons fan since '85. I hated the Bulls growing up, but I loved watching them play though. They were beautiful to watch.
Word.
Interesting interaction. I totally forgot about that. Right,
yeah.
Pistons and Bulls fans. So okay, so that's basketball. We started out. We had to rehash the NFL draft. It was very interesting. I watched a little bit of your show. Backtracked and seen some things, but I want to know your thoughts. Let's go ahead and start off. Let's go through. So, but basically, what we did was we did our match made in heaven. Okay. We did best value picks. We did biggest reaches, and we did biggest fall. So let's start match made in heaven. If you were to name, how about you name 2 players that you think they went to a team that was just perfect for them? Who would you pick?
All right, so you know me, I like the scuba dive. Snorkeling is too easy for me. I like the scuba dive. I took 3 teams easily. 2 teams didn't have a draft pick until the 3rd round. 1 team traded one of their picks. The 3 teams I thought that helped themselves out and made 3 matches made in heaven were the Raiders, the Eagles, and the Dolphins. Okay. They basically traded the Raiders and the Dolphins basically traded their 1st round picks for Devontae Adams and Tariq Hill. So there's not a receiver in this draft that either of us can look and go, yeah, he might be a Devontae or he might be a Tariq. That guy's not in the draft. I know Jamison Williams is fast, but there's a reason why he wasn't starting over Waddle and some of the other and Michi and some of the other guys there. Right? Remember, Michi blew his ACL out too.
Well, Jamison Williams came from Ohio State. Remember?
I get that. I understand that, but you transfer, you should be up in there starting. The Dolphins get Tariq Hill. They gave up the pick to the Kansas City Chiefs, so the Kansas City Chiefs had that 1st round pick, or the Dolphins would have used that pick. And then I thought what the Eagles did, because I'm a big Jalen Hurts believer. I'm a bang my drum for Jalen Hurts until he out of the league, because I support the black quarterbacks, and I'm gonna always support the black quarterbacks, but I'll keep it a buck about them. Jalen Hurts is going to be a star in this league. You have to put talent around like any other quarterback. And getting A.J. Brown like that and that trade move to add him to that offense, to go with a Devontae Smith that you already have there. Go with Goddard, the tight end you got there. You got backs that can catch the ball out of the back.
Miles Sanders.
And now it looks like Oklahoma, Alabama. Now, okay, no problem. Come blitz me. 1, 2, 3, boom, 1, 2. And I got guys now that can catch and go. And I got guys that can catch now. I got a big guy who can catch and throw you off of them.
AJ Brown
get some 50-50 balls.
All of that. So I thought those 3 teams, and I know they didn't have picks, but when I looked at the 1st round, I'll be honest with you, Kenneth, I couldn't find a team that I thought made just the perfect pick, because I thought Jacksonville screwed it up from the beginning.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. And that was both of our biggest reach.
Was a domino effect. Because then everybody thought, to me, this was a great draft because you had no idea what was going on. We had no idea. We're looking at the board like, when Dallas picked, I thought about you. Yeah. You're the first person that came in my mind when I said, yeah, he don't like that.
look, we do this every year.
Yeah, exactly. But he didn't have the resume that the guy last year had. And you fell in love with him quick, so you rebounded. But most people thought that pick for Dallas was great. But I couldn't find Thibodeau to the Giants. I thought, okay, you need a rush. You need a rush in, but then go back and get another defender. I thought the Giants and the Jets, with the 2 picks they had, should have went both sides of the ball on one side. With both picks on one side of the ball. Get 2 young stars on one side of the ball now. Because if one of your defensive guys flare out and don't work out, you got a hole over there.
Well, would you say the Jets did, because the Jets got Sauce Gardner, and then at the end they got Jermaine Johnson.
Sauce Gardner is gonna get his ass handed to him in the NFL for like the first 2 to 3 years, and I'll tell you why. Hold on, I got. I'll tell you why. First of all, he's playing in the ACC. All right, so I went and I looked at this, not the ACC, the AAC. So I went and I did all my research, and even with the draft coming up, I'm like, God, man, this guy, the tape looks great. I'm not going to try to use the team competition, but what I will use, because I play football, is the man-on-man competition. Not one receiver in his career that he covered got drafted in the NFL. Not one. The one guy from Memphis that he would have went up against, that was the 138th pick to Pittsburgh this year, is 5'9", 162. He's 6'3", 200 pounds. So that's an unfair fight anyway. He covered nobody in college. And I know if you went to another team, but you came to the AFC East, Waddle, Hill, Buffalo's got 4 or 5 guys up there. Patriots are always going to put quick hit stuff on the field that you got to react fast to. I thought that was a horrible pick for them. If you were going to go offense, you should have just went receiver, because Corey Davis stole money from y'all. Corey Davis is stealing money. Him, Galladay, and Curtis Samuel. Trust me, those all 3 free agents last year, they're not going to pan out with those teams. And I said it last year, they all stole money. So you should have got 2 receivers, because Corey Davis not going to work out, bro. But if you went defense, okay. If you went Sauce, then I'd have took another defender. Here's linebackers looking you right in your face. Here's the other rush ends. Look, there's Lawrence from Florida State staring right at you, bro. I can go get you 11.5 a year. I got that kind of talent, and I can chase Tua down, and I can chase Matt Jones down, and I can get after when those guys get to scrambling. I run 4.45, bro. I can move.
So you don't like the Sauce Gardner pick?
Did you like the Jermaine Johnson pick?
I would have liked it if they got it earlier, but being that they got it later, he's not going to get a big contract, and I can see he could be a kind of guy threatening to hold out if he blasts out his first season and a half. 2 years in the NFL, I can see a guy like that. Same thing, i.e. Jamal Adams.
Oh my God.
2 years?
You mean the NFL's premier rover?
Pay me. Jets were like, well, we kind of can't, because we got, okay, well, trade me then. Bye-bye.
And we both love the Jets draft.
Yeah. Well, okay. All right. Well, the way I feel like they filled needs. I agree with you having some doubt about Sauce Gardner. I like his physicality. I like his size and athleticism. He's too grabby for me. That's why I'm not mad at Houston for taking Derek Stingley at 3, because I think Derek Stingley, if the kid can stay healthy, I think Derek Stingley can transition a lot faster than Sauce Gardner can. But I look at what they did. I felt like they hit all the needs that Jermaine Johnson going to come in the league and be a double-digit sack guy in year 1. I believe that much in his skill set. Garrett Wilson, he's the second or third best receiver, but I think he's not as refined as people think he is. He's not a great route runner. He's just a physical freak. I think Chris Olave is much better than Garrett Wilson is. So I don't know. I like what they did. I can see where you have some doubts, but I do feel like they hit needs. And we named one other guy, Breece Hall.
Yeah,
Breece Hall, the running back.
In the second round.
Is it Iowa State?
Yep, in the second round.
Iowa State, who was the number 1 rated running back. I think he's going to be big for them.
You know why I didn't like the Breece Hall pick? Once again, it's not that I don't like Breece Hall. Dolphins defense twice, Bills defense twice, Bill Belichick's defense twice. Have fun.
Well, they got to get some.
Listen, Buffalo's won the division the last 2 years, gentlemen.
Right.
2 years ago, their defense was ranked as rushing 26. Last year, 28. As far as their rushing attack, you don't need a running back to win that division. You need other pieces. You need to make sure your quarterback can block. You need a quarterback. You need some pass catcher receivers, or you need a dominant defense. And they don't have either of that. I didn't like their draft at all because I might have moved one of those picks. I might have traded back and gathered more picks to gather more players. The draft to me is all about getting a haul of players and really good players. Some of like the Breece Hall pick. Okay, do you need Breece Hall over a safety or over another corner? You went corner. Do you need Breece Hall over that? No. Do you need another guard in the center? You think you got your tackles and you've already said it, Becton State. Okay, cool. But you guys got a lot of pressure up the middle, bro. You still got to fix this line. It's all going to come down to Zach. And if he don't have time, bro, it's done. So you can go without Bree. Plus, there's running backs, guys, every year. You don't know how to get the best one every draft. Or the top prospect.
It's a very expendable position.
Yes, it's a very expendable position.
But I felt like their mindset was, okay, while Zach is still developing, which me and you both know, we feel like Zach Wilson has some developing to do. That maybe we do
I don't think he's that guy.
And I'm not mad at you. I think he's
a bust. No, I think he's a bust. I think after his rookie contract, they're moving on.
I think it's still early. I think you've seen him those last 4 or 5 games of the season. I think you really started to see him make a few strides.
I've seen him before. His name was Johnny Manziel. I've seen him already.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, I don't know about that player.
On the field, guys. On the field. Not the off the field stuff. Just put the tape on. Real quick, if I can. Tiberius, you and I did the draft show together when you got drafted. I say, if you put on the 2020 tape, when the COVID thing hit, his tape is great, but they played nobody. No one ranked on the RPI that was over 175, okay? But if you put on the 2019 tape where they had to play a full season, he is all over the map, all over the field. In this bowl game against Coastal Carolina, which none of us can name a defender from Coastal Carolina, they held his ass in check and embarrassed him on national TV.
That's true.
So Coastal Carolina. So I go, once again, I go by the eye test. I just watched them in school, okay, flashes, but Johnny Manziel, flash. And see, we remember the Alabama win, and that makes everybody go, But then Alabama turned around and went to College Station the next year and said, nah, bruh. That's nice. If you like that, you Deshaun Watson, homeboy. He took Bama on back-to-back and put up over 1,000 combined yards and almost over 100 points.
But we're comparing Deshaun Watson a transcendent player, though.
Okay, but people were talking like Zach was transcending.
They were, and I still feel. And look, and I know
pump the brakes.
And I know Swan takes this personally because I feel like they draft. They were so big on Zach Wilson when I'm still high on Justin Fields. I believe Justin Fields can still be a pretty damn good quarterback. In the
yeah. Okay. I've told him this. You know what I'm saying? Not to get too far off topic, but I told him this. We went out, my Bears. We went out and got Matt Eberflus, and it's not that I so much dislike the hire, but I just think that the success of the Bears rests so much on the progression of Justin Fields that I would have liked to have seen them got an offensive guy.
Of course.
And they went and got the QB coach from Green Bay to be our offensive coordinator. And it's like he's supposed to be the guy to help take Justin Fields to that next level. I just would have rather have seen them go with a really offensive guy there. I don't dislike it, but I just think we should have went offensive with the head coach.
Totally agree with you 100%. That's the league right now. And you're going to start to see more defensive guys not get head coaching jobs. And I hate it because if they're black, then that's all the Rooney Rule, all that's going to come into play. But in today's league, you need a GM who listens to the head coach and a head coach who's offensive minded, who is connected to his quarterback. Period. Yep. Period. Last year, McVay connected to a 13-year veteran, but before that, he got to the Super Bowl with a guy that a lot of people don't believe in. Who was across the side? Oh, yeah, that's Coach Zach Taylor over there. Yep, young offensive mind. Who's his quarterback? Oh, just national championship winner, record setter, Heisman Trophy, #1 overall pick. Blew his knee out, but came back this year and took us to the Super Bowl. It's all connected. All the good teams having all. That's why I love the Dolphins hire. I like Flores because of what it stood for, and he did get our defense right. But you could see, you need an offensive head coach. So I agree with you. And I hated y'all draft because I wanted to see them take care of my man Jay Fields, and they didn't do that. And that because he's gonna get all the flack for it. He's gonna I liked
our first couple picks because we did go secondary, which is a grave need for us. But
gotta score. Gotta score.
True that.
Gotta score. I get it, but I much rather win 37-33 every Sunday than lose 27-13 because I can't score.
Yeah, you have it.
So let me ask you this, Veejay.
Sure, sir.
Surprise falls. Look, you're looking at some players that slid. What was one or two that stood out to you most?
Some of my, you know what? I won't say slides and falls because I call them steals.
Okay,
I think they were steals.
Okay,
the Kobe Dean jumps just off the list immediately.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But then you hear this injury story, and this is from an NFL friend that I trust who works in the front offices there. The injury is worse than they're letting on. That's why he slid. But teams didn't want to throw him under the bus and put it out there. They just let it know, hey, it's a concern on the pec. He didn't want to have surgery or with the muscle they didn't want to have surgery on, and it can heal naturally. But it feels like to me the medical got out quietly to coach, because for him to fall that far with that type of talent and the way he plugs defenses and the way he runs sideline to side, you need that in today's league.
When I think Quay Walker go, I said,
yeah,
I was looking around.
Exactly. Kirby Smart told us in the post game of the national championship celebration, Kobe Dean's our leader. He makes everything. This is, hey, let me bring up this because this guy's our leader. And all the players are like, yeah, that's I'm a star too. But no, Kobe, when he walk in the locker room, everybody shut up. He's like the Undertaker in WWE backstage. He's the man. You got to go through him. Sean, Brett, Rock, Austin, all y'all, everybody goes through Mark Calloway. That's a W. Word. That's an NWA. Right?
Oh, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. I got you, bro.
Mark Calloway. Okay. That's before he became. That's for these young buckaroos, little young whippersnappers, little young pack of Skittle dudes walking around here. Y'all know y'all wrestling like that. He was Mean Mark before the Undertaker. But the Kobe Dean is the guy, man. Malik Willis, that pissed me off. And I don't know if you saw my tweet on the pre-show before the draft, before any of these TV shows, any of these guys said it. I went on air. I said, let me tell y'all something. If the Lions don't take him at 2, you guys are going to regret this. This guy, and my comparison was, I said, this guy is Steve McNair. This guy is Steve McNair. And I remember when he was coming out of Alcorn State, I was a junior in high school, and it was the same talk. Well, the offense there is easy, i.e. psycho talk. Black guy can't learn offense at quarterback. Well, his offense there was really easy. So you mean tell me you get to the league, you can't make the turnaround? They said it about Cam. They said it about Vince. They said it about Mike Vick. Randall Cunningham, I can go all day. Oh, we supposedly can't grasp complicated offenses, but that pick, man, and that's why I call this a steal. Ryan Tannehill, hey, sir, how you doing, buddy? Ryan Tannehill, remember Dolphin fan, Veejay. I don't defend you. You suck. And people think you good. You got a 2,000-yard running back behind you. I don't fall for that. Your days are numbered, sir. Bye-bye.
So I'll say this about the Malik Willis, and me and Veejay always go back and forth about black.
Cause man, you be fighting on our people. I told you.
No, I'm not. No, look.
To the NAACP. Turning you into the
NAACP. Okay, look.
Me and him go at it about Michael Vick as well.
Okay,
and sometime about Cam. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'll say this about Malik Willis. One, he's extremely talented, and the player comp I actually gave him, and I feel like somebody on ESPN must have heard my player comp that I had from Malik Willis. I always felt like he was a mixture of Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson, but he's very raw. Now, my belief about him is I think he went exactly where he was supposed to go. I don't think he was a first round pick. I don't watch Malik Willis's tape.
Why?
Because I don't think he was ready to start for any team.
Why?
Okay, look at the team. Look at
you have the ready meter.
Look at the teams that were QB that really needed a quarterback, right? Okay. Let's look at a Pittsburgh. Okay. First of all, Pittsburgh wasn't gonna draft a Malik Willis over a Kenny Pickett or another option I had for them was a Desmond Ridder, because Pittsburgh is a team that is already well built. They have studs on defense. They have some nice foundational pieces on offense. They want a guy that's going to come in day one and going to give them the best chance to win now. I'm going to tell you what I like. The thing about Malik Willis, when you talk about Malik Willis, you talk about a very talented, good young kid. When you watch Malik Willis, you don't say, oh, that's the guy I want to lead my franchise right now. I'm going to say this. Malik Willis is phenomenally talented, and I think he's going to be the starter in Tennessee within 2 years. But I'm going to say this. To me, Malik Willis, when I watch him interviews, to me, he's a baby that's still growing. Malik Willis is a baby. He's not a full-grown man, a guy that you're going to bring in, and he's going to be the face of your franchise day one. But guess what? Tennessee's perfect for him, because One,
you don't have to be that yet.
You don't have to be that guy day one. And let's be honest, it's not like you're Jordan Love sitting behind Aaron Rodgers. You're sitting behind Ryan Tannehill. So if you really attack your craft, you can take the job within a year and a half. And you have a great head coach in Mike Vrabel. If he goes, the worst thing that could have happened to Malik Willis is he go to a team and they say, okay, we need, because let's be honest, if he goes to Detroit, they got Jared Goff, but if he goes to a team that really puts him to the forefront day one, I think it shatters his confidence. But I like him in Tennessee with Mike Vrabel, Derrick Henry, that offensive line, and some of the things that they're doing over there. I think that's a great foundation for him to grow and really reach his potential. But to me, I'll be honest, Veejay, he wasn't a first-round quarterback. And I'm gonna tell you this: I like Desmond Ridder far more than I like Malik Willis. To me, Desmond Ridder is probably going to be Atlanta's starter.
How many defensive backs got drafted from the AAC? Oh, Desmond Ridder, you mean from Cincinnati? That's the same team that has Sauce Gardner. Oh, wow. Look how that works. So he looked really good against a lot of guys that'll be selling insurance and trying out for the USFL.
Come on,
so,
all
right, that's cool. And I understand Malik Willis. Hold on, I got my boy Malik Willis, because this is a lot of information. Not you guys. A lot of people didn't know about him. Yeah, he was at Liberty, and that's all people heard. People forget that he was at Auburn first. He was at Auburn. So that means in the SEC, the division we all clamor over every college football season.
I don't.
Not us. The general consensus is it's the best college football conference for the last 15 to 20 years. We're in 2022. So if you go back to remember, Tennessee beat Florida State when Marcus Allison had to fill in for Chris Winkie hurting his neck. And Peter Ward couldn't get Peter Ward the ball. And they lost to an SEC. So SEC been winning national championships for a minute. This ain't nothing new. And when Saban don't win it, Georgia steals one. Clemson steals two. It's not the SEC, but South Carolina. It's in that region. It's right there. So when you're getting recruited by a team like that, that means you have talent. I'll say this about Malik Willis, because this is all the same stuff I heard about Steve McNair. All of this, he's not ready and this and that. Okay, who is?
In this draft?
And I think I was just going to say, I think in this draft, and I think because quarterback is such an important position, you were going to see one go in the first round. But I think in this draft, I don't think this was obviously this wasn't a huge quarterback draft. If we're being honest, I think in a regular year, neither one of these guys go in the first round.
I concur.
Here's the thing, but we can't do that, gentlemen, because we can only do this year, because this is the year they were available. You might be right. Maybe in another year when Andrew Luck's coming out, now he's not going to be a first-round pick. There's better. I get that part of it. I'm talking about the here and the now. And I never said he's got to start right now, T. So I agree with you there. He can't start right now. But you don't, if you're the Lions and you need somebody right now, you mentioned they got Goff. So you have pieces, right? You have a running back, you have a line, like you drafted Panay, you got a Georgia running back. They're building. I know it's still Detroit, but I tried to be blind to who it was, and I just looked and I said, you know what, God, he would work. You can't play now, but if you sit behind Goff, you sit behind a veteran, a guy that's been in the Super Bowl, a guy that's played on the big level conference championship games, let him learn for a few years. Aaron Rodgers gets out of there. Kirk Cousins gets out of there, and maybe we're looking at him and Justin Fields, those Bears-Lions games now, got two black quarterbacks. That was where I was with it, bro. You know how it gets down. But I do look at the tape. You talk about big, strong, accurate arm. You talk about big. He's built like Steve. He's built like Steve McNair. And Steve McNair came into the league and nobody thought he was going to do nothing. And he took Eddie George in that offense with Dyson as his best receiver to the Super Bowl.
That's just true.
And hung in there with the greatest
a yard away. A yard away.
A yard away. So once again, my favorite phrase, I've seen this before. I've seen a guy like this come in and people roll their eyes, and it's like, all right, yeah, y'all can do that. But there's Flacco's from Delaware. We don't blink at that. Big Ben's from Ohio. We don't blink at that. Let a black quarterback from who'd he play against? Well, he didn't play against anybody. Nah, Brian. And if a guy's not good, then the guy's not good. I'm a Dolphin fan. You know what I've always said about Tua. Am I a Tua guy?
No,
you know.
You wanted Justin Herbert. You wanted Justin Herbert
because he plays for my squad. I'm going to support him, but I wanted Justin Herbert, and he played at Alabama. But when he played at Alabama and they didn't give Jalen Hurts his job back, I'm like, hold on, bro. This dude's not better than Jalen Hurts. I understand he looks good, but Every quarterback looks good at Alabama. Go all the way back 12, 15 years. How many of them make it in the NFL? They all look good here because you got NFL linemen.
It would have been almost impossible for them to put Jalen Hurts back as a starter that following season, though.
Why?
Looking at what happened in the championship game, it
doesn't matter.
How do you tell this team? All right, hey, I know we brought this guy in. I know he helped lead us to the championship, but we're gonna go on head back to Jalen. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna put him. How do you tell your team that?
Well, I'm gonna tell you this.
Okay. Well, Hurts won a championship too. So
let's look at it like this. Sometimes when it comes to, and it's like this in the National Football League too, it's not about the talent level. Because even if we believe, first of all, I'm a Jalen Hurts fan. I like Jalen Hurts. I'm a big fan of his intangibles. I think he can continue to get better. He's become he's become a better thrower of the football the last 2 to 3 years. But maybe Tua was just a better fit with what Alabama wanted to do from an offensive standpoint throwing the football. Now, Jalen Hurts goes to Oklahoma, gets with Lincoln Riley, becomes really unlocks his passing ability, and you see what he's doing in Philly. And now, obviously, we're comparing Jalen Hurts to Tua right now, and they're not even in the same stratosphere. I think we can argue that.
No, so, you know me, I keep it a buck, bro. They're not. You're 100% right. They're not in the same stratosphere. I'm not. Listen, once again, he's a black and brown quarterback, so I'm always gonna support him. But I put the tape on, and I'm like, all right, bro. We got you another receiver. We got you 2 receivers. We brought you Cedric Wilson. They traded up picks, and they signed big money. We got you Tariq. We got a left tackle. They brought in another guard. We got a fullback. We got 2 running backs that run 4-3, 4-4. All right, bro. Like, I mean, they signed Smythe. They gave Gesicki his contract. All right, homie. Like, it may not gotta be this year, but I can't be scratching my head 3 or 4 Sundays in a row, dog. Like, let's go. Jalen.
I think this year. I think the pressure's on Tua this year.
Jalen Hurts dragged that Philly team to a playoff last year, guys. He dragged that team to a playoff last year. And he made his mistakes too, Tiber. He made his mistakes.
No.
The fact is, they were in the playoffs.
No. I talked about this on the Break Room Breakdown, and obviously I'm a Dallas fan, but the football guy in me, you can't help but fall in love with what Philly did. They made the playoffs, which was essentially a rebuild year. Yeah, you saw how much they believed in Jalen Hurts. I know a lot of people was down on their head coach, but he's actually kind of growing on me. You know,
Nick
Sirianni, he's kind of growing on me because I'm gonna tell you what he did. You saw in the beginning of the year he tried to unload this pass attack, but then he realized, you know what, that may not be what we're best at right now. Let's go ahead and dial it back. He really listened. He looked at his roster and he really readjusted and focused on the run game. And by the end of the year, they were the number 1 rushing team in the National Football League. And that became their bread and butter. And he really used Jalen Hurts' strength. So I obviously Jalen Hurts didn't have the best playoff game, but obviously they're doing everything in their power to add the right pieces around him. He could really become a lot better moving forward. I hate it as a Dallas fan, but as a football guy, seeing what everything that he's went through and the adversity he's overcome. I'm going to tell you this. He handled that situation at Alabama with class.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he comes from a classy family. I would like to see them make really one big move. And then I'll tell you my last guy I had. I don't want to steal the time, but I would like to see them go get like a Jarvis Landry, a vet receiver like that that's tough. He'll fit in Philly because they're going to love his toughness. They're going to love the way he plays. You ain't got to get him a bunch, but when you need it and it's tight, you know that dude right there. I've seen him do it in Miami. I've seen him do it we know. And he's going to break some tackles. He's going to get them height-type plays when AJ can't get off coverage or when Smith is being double-teamed. The last guy you and I texted about, Devin Lloyd, I just don't get it. I live in LA. I watch Pac-12 football. I watched this guy like 7 games last year, and every time I watch the game, every 2 or 3 defensive plays, they're saying his name. Every 2 defensive plays, they're saying his name.
He pops off the freaking screen, and he can do everything.
Everything. He's who's the guy from Tampa Bay we love so much right now? I forget it. They slide.
White.
Yes,
Devin White.
That was my comparison to him. Big,
I can see that.
Move, stops the run, can rush the passer, can cover in space.
He can cover like a safety. He has really good ball skills.
So like
Devin White.
So back to real quick to Jets and Giants. You take Sauce and you take Thibodeau. Why not add a linebacker to either your cover corner or add a linebacker to your rush in who you can stunt and run things with because you can move Thibodeau up and down the line? Why wouldn't you do that to set that part of your defense for the next 7-8 years instead of trying to bounce on both sides of the ball?
Well, I think when it came with Devin Lloyd, people got caught up. Okay, one thing you learned about me, I'm not a very big combine guy. Don't get me wrong, it's exciting a little bit, but it just doesn't always. So people were kind of down on him because they felt like he didn't test as well as they wanted him to. But when you watch the guy, when you look at the eye test, he was a top 10 pick at a minimum. Yep. At a freaking minimum. At a minimum. So
and the Jets and the Giants had 2 top 10 picks.
Hey, I don't know if you probably didn't see it earlier. I told Swan this. I said Jacksonville took Trevon Walker #1, and he's not even going to be the best rookie defender on his team.
Nope. And that was going to be my next question to him because me and Kenny both agreed that was probably the biggest reach. How did you feel about Trevon Walker going #1?
No. And what I hated was the way they tried to cover it up verbally through the media of, well, the tape and the numbers don't look so great because he sacrificed so everybody can get theirs. But it's like, nah, bro, when you the man, you just the man. And the Kobe Dean was the man. So what this sacrifice y'all talking about? Where was this sacrifice? The Kobe Dean's your best defender any damn way, bro. Even over Jordan Davis in the middle. Mm-hmm. He got to lose weight or he's going to be out of the league in 3 to 4 years. You can't play at that size in this league. Offenses run to, in the national championship game, guys, remember, he was off and on the field. And I ain't trying to make fat jokes. You too big, bro. You got to get. It's like Zion Williamson in basketball, dog. Yeah. You got to get down to like Barkley. You got to.
But what I was mentioning,
Barkley look, you're a little thick for this league, bro.
What I was mentioning to him about is that I like Jordan Davis going to Philly because they at right now at this moment they have Javon Hargrove, they have Fletcher Cox, and at Georgia he was only playing 40 or 45% of snaps anyway. So right now in Philly. Okay. You can kind of feel that same little role, and they can just have a nice little rotation, and that'll give him time to maybe get into
a few years, though.
That'll give him some time to get into some state. So he's learning from a great guy like Fletcher Cox. So I can see him being successful.
All right. So we had him. We had him. I had him as a value pick. I thought Philly didn't.
Yeah.
They really didn't need to draft Jordan. They could have went a lot of different places than Jordan Davis. They could have went linebacker.
That's what I was about to say. They could have went
Devin Lloyd.
Because you traded and got your receiver. I probably would have went linebacker because in my division, I have a lot of tight ends and I have a lot of running backs that come out of the backfield. Dallas has got 2. Philly themselves has got 3, so they should know. Washington's got 2. Washington's got a young stud receiver in Logan Thomas, former quarterback from Virginia Tech. Dallas has got young receivers. Dallas got backs that come out of the backfield. I'm getting linebackers that can run sideline to sideline and cover right now. When I snuck and stole AJ Brown, like, let's go get a linebacker. I thought too many rush ends guys went too early. I thought way too many rush ends went early. Everybody keeps saying it's a rush the passer lead. I don't buy that. It's still football 101. Run the football, stop the run, don't turn the ball over, don't commit stupid penalties. You'll win 65% of your games. How do you do that? You stop the run by having linebacker, the D line, but you have to have linebackers who can fill and tackle. You can have, and Ndamukong Suh signed with Miami for $105 million. The 4 years he was there, our rush defense, 25th, 27th, 30th, 31, because we didn't have linebackers to make tackles. But you got a Ndamukong Suh, don't matter. You need linebackers.
Well, I will say this. We're talking about rush ends. I believe Aiden Hutchinson was every bit of worth the #1 overall pick. As a Michigan guy, he's easily probably the most well-rounded player in the draft.
Yeah, and also too, man, it's just in his DNA, gentlemen. I'll make it short and sweet. It's in his DNA. His dad played. His dad was in the league. His dad was at Michigan. It's when you got guys like that, it's just in their DNA, man. They just gonna be nice. It's in there, like when they show pictures of them little at the stadium with the dad when he was in college, and he got the Michigan stuff on, and then you see, like, you just know it's like he can't fail. You can't be that kid.
That's you can't go.
Your dad has the record of sacks here. You got to go beat that record and then go be a top pick in it. You have to.
That's how I felt about.
Looking at my son like, you ain't gonna go beat my record.
That's how I felt about Surtain last year, man. Because his pops was a heck of a football fan, bro. Player,
I know. Dolphin fan. Not only him, Winfield Jr.
His
father was a dog.
Stud. He's a
his
stud.
Dad for like 14, 15 years. His dad was a dog. Oh, you gotta go be a dog, so you can't go be a puppy. Nah, bro, it's in you.
Word.
So Aiden should have went #1 overall, and I thought that might have set the draft different. But I believe with you guys, the Walker biggest reach. Sauce. I didn't like the Sauce pick. Those are like my biggest. Oh, Patriots with the offensive lineman Strange
Chattanooga.
Because most people had him graded as second or third round. You got more picks coming up. I just thought maybe Belichick is trying to outsmart everybody again. But if you look at the last 7 years, their first round picks are horrible. They just don't. Mm-hmm. That's why he used to trade out all the time. They just don't do well with them. So I thought that was a reach also.
Brady a little full of himself.
Yeah.
He has been for a while now.
Well, okay. Well, obviously we get up there in hours, and Veejay, I know you got another show. Let's end with this. Who won the draft? In your opinion, obviously, I know you mentioned Jets and you mentioned a few teams that you kind of disagree with their approach. If you were to name a team that you felt like they just had a very complete draft where they hit the needs and they picked some players that you would pick if you were in that GMC, who would you say?
Once again, the draft was so all over the place because Jacksonville screwed up the first pick. So to say who won the draft,
who's the tallest of all midgets?
The whole said that's like saying I'm the tallest midget. Oop, my bad. That's not politically correct. My fault. But all right. So the way I wrote this one down is, once again, I looked at the teams that I thought got better with first round draft pick trades, because those still count to me. And to me, it's still the Raiders and the Dolphins. I thought still just came out better because is there a player in this draft that you think is going to be better than Tariq in the first round? No. Is there a player in the first round that you think will impact this team, put up the numbers, and be better than Devontae Adams? No. And they used those first round picks for that. But then when they did pick the Raiders at 90, Zamir White, the running back out of Georgia, that's turning into running back you. Hey, Jacobs. Hey, homeboy.
You better look out. Yeah, I agree.
I agree. And also, too, McDaniels is there. And they gave Carr his bread. And they gave Wall, like, they're this offense, I'm telling people.
They're a threat.
Denver and KC, y'all better watch Vegas this season with that offense and the way they could get going. And Crosby, you got an all-pro Russian, so you got a guy that can, you got a
Chandler Jones.
Ball. Yep, exactly. And then you bring in Chandler. And then I thought what Miami did with the pick 102 with Channing Tindall out of Georgia, who played right next to the Kobe Dean. Now, and I like where they took him. I thought he was the third. But you can see, when Dean wasn't there making a play, Tindall was there making a play all year long. I was like, when I saw that pick, I said, okay. So they feel the needed running linebacker because people wanted them to go get these veterans, and with Reuben Foster and all these other names, they had linebackers in all off season, but they're all vets, man. Teams are trying to get young. You got to get young in this league right now. There's all the old guys all the old coaches, all the old players, they're on their way out. It's shifting. So you got to get young. So I like the way they did it. But if I had to pick a team, I would take the Giants and Philly in a tie because I do love Evan Neal. I believe he's a decade left tackle starter for you. He's a decade left tackle.
You know how Kenny felt about these Alabama linemen now.
Well, here's the thing though. In that division, he fits at what he's gonna face. He fits at what he's. That's how I look at play. He fits it. That's why I don't like the Sauce. Now, like once again, Sauce got traded somewhere, got drafted somewhere else. Cool, but you telling me this dude gonna come in, gonna cover all them AFC East receivers? All right, bro. I'll see you on Sunday. I'll be here.
Okay, so
I look at Evan Neal, and I think he fits for what they want to get back to running the football. He is a mauler. They want to get back to running the football because they were 50-50 on Saquon. And then we talked about this last year. I said, it's in his head, bro. I called him Kajana Carter before he got drafted. I said, once again, I've seen this. But have I been wrong to this point? I've seen this guy already. His name was Kajana Carter in 94. I've seen this back out of Penn State already, gentlemen. Blair Thomas that went to the Jets. I've seen this back already. So far, he had one good year, got hurt, came back, but you can tell it's now up.
Oh, he's not the same. He don't
run hard. He don't lower that short, but they want to get back to that. So I thought that was the pick there. And then I love what the Eagles did. I love what the Eagles did by getting a veteran right now who's only 24, giving him his money. They can get out of these contracts, man. All that. Okay, here's your 57 guaranteed. That other 43, you're going to work for that, dog. You're going to stick around and work for that. But here's your 57 because this is just what the league is. You're up next. Okay, here's your 57. But I love what they did in getting Jalen some help there. So those are the teams I looked at. And of course, Malik Williams with the Titans. They said, and then Traylon Burks. That's the other name. You moved AJ
and get a guy just like him.
And get a guy just like him who's cheaper.
Yeah.
and probably more versatile, right? Because
and also too, Haskins out of Michigan, who's a bell cow back. So in 2 years, it could be Willis, Burks, and Haskins behind him in that division against the Colts, the Jags, and the Texans. Which one of them teams is supposed to be blowing up and being good anytime soon? It's right for Tennessee by taking that kid. That's where my whole thought process was. I looked at the future, looked at that draft. So 33 teams, but if I had to pick one, I'll stay Philly because I just love the AJ Brown move.
Okay. Well, that is.
It's not the Jets, guys. I know both y'all love that draft, man. It's not them bum ass.
We did.
We shall see, brother. We shall see, man. Season is approaching fast, man. These cats gonna be heading in the training camp around July time frame or so, and we shall see.
I'll say this for your Bears real quick before I roll, man. I'm a huge Justin Fields guy. I normally don't like Ohio guys, but I know he came through Georgia first. And he was going to go to South Carolina. It was him and DJ Uiagalelei were the 1 and the 2. And DJ just committed first. They were recruiting him. Clemson was recruiting, Fields. And Fields wanted to go there, but DJ committed. So he's like, okay, fine, I'll go to Georgia. Then transfer to Ohio State. So I normally don't like their plays, but I really do like that kid. I love that kid, man. And I was really, really sports heartbroken that Chicago, like you said, hired a defensive guy and then really didn't help this guy out. Offensively, their offense is going to be bad. They're looking at a 3-14, so 4-13 at best. They just you don't have the offensive weapons, man. And in this league, you got to score points.
I love them too, man. And then they hired Matt Nagy and overvalued him. They thought he was Andy Reid 2.0. He thought he was Andy Reid 2.0. Some of his play calling was just
triple wide receiver. Triple wide receiver reverse on the goal line.
When I seen him do that, I said, "Oh my god!" Bro.
With David Montgomery in the backfield,
bro, we're doomed, bro. When he did, we're doomed. I said, we're doomed. How can we be successful with this guy?
Kenneth, another really big reach, man. Tyrone Davis-Price, kid out of LSU, running back there.
Okay.
I thought he got almost a 6th or 7th round grade, and the Niners grabbed him at 93. He was prospect number 276. So he was drafted almost 200 spots up from where he was prospected. I know he had the big Florida game, 285 on the ground and 3 touchdowns, but he only had 1,003 yards. And I looked this up earlier, did the quick math on it. So out of 11 games, the other 738, you average 52 a game, and everybody thinks he's going to beat his back with 6 touchdowns.
Did he go ahead of boy from Michigan State, Walker? Did he go ahead of Walker?
Kenneth Walker?
Yeah, he did, but man, that's Beast Mode 2.0. They're gonna love him.
Who, Walker?
Yeah.
I love him.
I'm glad Buffalo didn't take him because people were saying Buffalo wanted him. I was like, I do not want to face that.
I will say this: he's gonna get some opportunity to get some carries, but I've been the biggest Rashad Penny supporter.
I know. I know. We talked about it last year.
I've been the biggest Rashad Penny.
That's because he's in San Diego.
You put him on your fantasy team.
No, but you saw. To me, you look at the tail end of last year.
Yeah,
he kind of had that when the light comes on, and I'm not trying to compare him to this player because obviously this is a phenomenal player. But, people forget that for the first 2 years of Derrick Henry's career, he couldn't get on the damn field. But then then it was the second half of his 3rd season. I know he had to have that one-on-one talk with Eddie George because he was like kind of losing hope. And then the light came on and he started running like a madman. And then obviously he's fulfilling his potential. So I'm not saying Rashad Penny's going to be Derrick Henry, but I feel like the tail end of last year, you saw the light come on and him kind of be like, okay, I am this guy that I was at San Diego State.
Well, the light came on, and it came on too late because Pete Carroll.
Well, they resigned him. Shit, we'll see what happens.
That don't matter. Yeah, and Denver resigned Melvin Gordon also. But we know Williams is the back. We know Williams.
But they're a really good 2-back system. Him and Williams.
I get it. But he tested free agency, and the only reason why he's back there is because no one would give him the money he wanted. Denver didn't want him. They let him go test free agency. And when he couldn't get money, they came back. They didn't sign nobody else. So it's all like, oh, okay. We're so glad you're back. We didn't want you. I always wanted to be here. I never wanted to be. Come on, bro. It's all that. Thank you, man. It's all that.
It sounds good.
It all sounds good, man. But when you draft a running back, it's telling the next. You saw, I think there was a record of players that were drafted at the same position, and that current starter got cut today. There was like an NFL record today. It was like maybe 132 guys got cut today, and their position was drafted for on the team. League changes fast, man. League changes fast. Every team's got a shot unless you just know you have no shot. But if you got weapons, you got a quarterback, and you got a young staff, and you got a defense that can hold teams to about 23, 24 Sunday. You got a shot to win 11, 12 games. You got a shot to get in the playoffs. And when you get to the playoffs, you got a shot to win it all. But you at least got to get a shot first.
Word.
Well, man. First of all, we can talk football all night. Me and Veejay get going, man. I think we'll be here
until about 3 hours. We've done 3 hour shows, bro.
Oh yeah.
Like it was absolutely nothing. Yes.
Yeah. So, and had to stop yourself.
Oh. Folks that had to come and wrap it up. But
we be hungry, man. My stomach be growling. I was like, all right, look, man, my stomach growling, bro. I ate a sandwich before the show, man. But let me jump on here, man. So listen, thanks for having me, guys. And the one thing I love about the draft that most guys remember, the average NFL lifetime is 3.5 years. By math of 32, only 13 of these guys are going to pan out in the first round. 17 of these guys we will not hear after them. I wish we'd have got that. I made a list for that. I wish we'd have got that because I picked 13. I said, okay, I believe these 13, surefire. Mm-hmm. These 17, after their rookie contract, yeah, you might get a deal as a free agent somewhere else, but it's probably they need to fill a roster spot, or someone still believes in you. Someone still thinks they can get it. They can get it. They can get it out. Every GM thinks they can get it out of that guy. Oh, I can. Oh, they couldn't. Look at Carolina. They still believe they can get it out of Sam Darnold. 5 years.
God bless their
5
heart.
years in the league.
Hey, before we let you go though, bro, we definitely want to give you an opportunity to let the people know what you got going on and plug yourself and any outlets. So just definitely let the people know where they can hear more of you, bro. And what you got coming up next?
You can listen to Veejay's on Sportsmanlike Conduct, man. Starting in 2 weeks, we're going back to every day for 2 hours, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. That's Veejay's on Sportsmanlike Conduct on Spreaker.com. And I'm also on the Vesson Sports, VESN. That's Vesson Sports, Veejay Entertainment Sports Network on YouTube. And the Big Vanilla Funny. Find all my funny family videos, all my cooking meals, and my kids and my comedy is all over there, man. You guys can find me there. Also, the Big Vanilla Funny on YouTube. So Husky Bets, new betting company that I started working on the website right now, taking in, making bread, man. And subscription website coming soon. You guys will be able to subscribe to the website every month. It's like a Netflix. I give out my 5 power picks every day and then additional picks and stuff like that. We do everything: parlay, prop bets, player bets, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. We're going to have it across the board for you guys, man, to get your bread up, man. So I appreciate y'all, gentlemen. Love y'all, my fellow Kings, my fellow brothers. Good luck to your Bears this year. I don't know next time I see you, but good luck to your Bears.
Man.
This year,
it'll be very soon, man. And definitely appreciate you coming on. And God bless, bro.
Yep, no doubt, man. All right, Kay. I'll holler at y'all, man. I appreciate y'all, brothers.
All right, Veejay.
Stay blessed, man.
You as well.
Man, wow. That was phenomenal.
It was a fun episode, man.
Yeah, it was. Definitely a great episode, man. Definitely.
Some good content. It's gonna be some good timestamps I get from this.
Oh yeah. We gonna go on and get to that, man. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. We appreciate everyone that's going to watch. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And don't forget, guys, moving forward, we will be on Mondays now. Mondays, 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. For those in the central time zone like myself, that's 7:30 Central Standard Time. From Mondays here moving forward, man. So we're gonna keep hitting y'all with this heat, man. Me and Kenny gonna keep on coming. We're gonna continue to find guests and bring people on sporadically, man. I think this is an awesome guest, man. Definitely appreciate Veejay for coming on out here and blessing us, man. And yeah, man, this is a great episode.
yeah. So a lot of fun. Obviously, NFL draft over. We're gonna have to jump into a lot of the NBA playoffs moving forward. Round 2 is underway, and and then before we know it, the finals will be here. And then hell, before we know, we'll be having our NBA draft show right? So that just shows you how fast time goes. But thanks everybody for tuning in. Once again, every time for coming in to going on YouTube and chiming in comments so we can interact with you guys live. That was fun. But let's keep it up and let's pump up our numbers. And hey, share us, plug us. You can follow us on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube, and hey guys, like I said, share us with your friends that want to talk sports and after work and just hang out with us, man. Let's have fun. And the Root of the Sports community every Saturday.
Yes, sir.
Right on Twitter Spaces, we hold it. So
and don't forget the break room breakdown with my boy. You know what I'm saying?
Episode 24 coming soon.
Don't forget that, fun. Man.
Yeah. So that's it's coming.
Where.
But outside of that, man, it's always
much
fun,
love.
Swan.
Yes, sir. God bless. God bless everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Next Monday, we'll see you then.
See you then.